What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if female Xenomorph fall in love with Naruto? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments, and also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. Uzumaki Naruto just sighed while looking at the mess that was his apartment after coming home from his mission from Waves. It was totally trashed to the point he didn't know if he could repair and fix it up this time. There were even signs of some drunk trying to start a fire in his apartment. Thank goodness I put fire-retarding alchemic seal in the entire apartment complex to make the landlord happy. Naruto sighed as he went through the carnage and found the floorboard in his room still intact and pulled them up to get out a metal, fire-proof box out of the floor along with some other items which he put in his backpack. "Oh, you're back." Naruto looked up at the landlord, who actually looked worried. "Yeah, they overdid it this time." Naruto sighed. "I see. I'm sorry that I had to do this." Naruto sweated as the landlord showed him an eviction notice. "No worries." Naruto sighed at his bad luck. "At least you gave me a chance to live here and it lasted while it did. Here." The landlord handed the blonde a good amount of money. "Take that for all the repairs you did for free as well as the adjustments to the complex. I mean, thanks to you, I never had to call a repairman for any repairs or stuff. Thanks. Hopefully, I can find an apartment before tonight. Well, I better get going and searching." Naruto sighed, quickly sealing away all the stuff still somewhat good before leaving. It couldn't be that hard to find another, right? Few days later, Naruto laid over the rail, groaning. He had been to over 100 different places to try and rent an apartment. And all rejected him. Worst, all the hotels refused to let him get a room and he stayed up all night the last few days as he couldn't find a place to sleep at. Lack of sleep wasn't for Naruto's lack of energy. Instead, it was because all his ramen was destroyed in his apartment and Ichiraku ramen was shit down for a little while as the owner and his daughter went on vacation. Growl. "Oh, shut up. I'll find a mana spot later." Naruto sighed. This must be one of those bad days humans talk about, but in the form of days. I just hope it doesn't stay bad for much longer. Naruto looked at the water's reflection of himself. His eyes narrowed at his reflection. But I'm so useless. I can't protect my comrades or even keep an apartment at that matter. Naruto's memories back from Wave went through his mind. He got so angry, he unleashed the power of the Kyuubi when he thought Sasuke was dead by accident. I got to do more emotion training. Naruto groaned. At least, he didn't unleash his own power as that would have not been pretty or even good to explain. "What are you doing, Naruto?" "Ack." Splash. Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke frowned while looked at their blonde-haired teammate, who somehow launched up in the air and landed in the river below. Both were wondering why Naruto was there early. Sure, Naruto would sometimes get there before both of them, but both noticed Naruto was a bit off today. His usual cheery demeanor wasn't there this morning as well as his goofy grin. In fact, the blonde seemed to be brooding when both came up and, as they discovered in accidentally scaring the blonde, didn't even notice them when they walked up. They also noticed the blonde had his backpack with him today as well, which they saw the blonde had on the last few days on mission. But they weren't complaining as that thing seemed to have everything in it they needed, including first aid kit stuff and drinks, though now it was getting odd. Both stared at it as it was laid against the bridge and dry, unlike its owner who was walking back on the bridge. "Great." Naruto groaned while wringing his coat. "What?" Naruto asked as both of his teammates looked at him. "You look like a girl." Sakura snickered at Naruto's body structure which, even though had lean, hard muscle, was soft and a little curvy, making the blonde look feminine, and finally answered why Naruto wore the loose jumpsuit coat. Naruto glared at his two teammates as they were both laughing just as Team 8 came up with 10 team. "What is going on here?" Nara Shikamaru asked while Akamichi Choji and Yamanaka Ino looked at what was going on. Well, Ino was more focused on Sasuke. "What's so?" Kiba then saw Naruto and began to laugh as well. "Ha ha, Naruto. Who knew you were a girly boy?" Kiba laughed his butt off as Aburame Shino and Hyuga Hinata moved back along with Team 10 as they saw a furious Naruto spinning up his coat. Wham! 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 EOWCH. Kiba yelped, gripping his rear end as was Sakura and Sasuke in pain from where Naruto whipped them at before stomping off to change into a dry jumpsuit on. And Naruto keeps his title of being the best towel whipper from the academy. Shino sighed as all the males at the academy found Naruto was a natural at the art of wet cloth whips. His skill's still good to get 3 people in 3 quick swings without them realizing till too late. Ow, why the heck he do that for? Sakura shouted in shock. Naruto was always nice to her, so this was shocking even to herself that he hit her with his wet coat. Sasuke just kept his posture to keep the small bit of pride he had. Though, he mentally knew he deserved that since he dropped his pride to laugh at the blonde. You kind of all deserved that since it was clear Naruto was furious. What did you two do to him? Shino asked while Ino wanted to comfort her crush how was keeping away from her. Nothing. We noticed Naruto wasn't being himself and when we asked him what he was doing, he managed to jump so high in fright, he landed in the river. Literally. Sakura sighed, watching Kiba still hopping around in pain as he got the first hit and the hardest. He has been a bit off today. Maybe he woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. Shikamaru sighed. Or ran out of ramen? Choji offered while the group sweated. However, just then Hitaki Kakashi made his appearance. You're late, Sakura shouted at Kakashi, who noticed Naruto was missing. Huh? Where's Naruto? Kakashi asked, noticing the extra genin including the Inuzuka who was hopping around in pain. He went to change into some dry clothes after falling into the river. Sasuke sighed before Naruto walked up in some dry clothes. That was fast. Well, now that you are all here, I have good news. You have the week off because I had to do a mission. Bye. Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke. Let me guess, your senseis did the same thing? Shino asked Shikamaru who nodded. Well, nothing we can do about it. However, everyone froze as they heard a roar and looked to see it was Naruto's stomach. Naruto, you didn't have breakfast? Yeah, Naruto sheepishly looked away. He hadn't eaten much in a week actually and on his reserve energy to stay on awake. Then, the blonde got double whacked by Ino and Sakura. Baka, even I eat breakfast, diet or not. Sakura roared at the blonde while the other 2 teams sweated. Sasuke grunted with a sigh. He had to guess Naruto ran out of food and hadn't been about to grab something to eat yet. It has happened to him a few times before he got used to living by himself. Wow, I pity you, Naruto. Kiba sighed while Akamaru barked in agreement. Huh? What for? Naruto sweated in worry. He hadn't told anyone he got evicted out of his apartment. You got 2 bad teammates. Kiba recoiled as Sakura and Sasuke glared at him. How are we bad? Sakura growled. Forehead girl, you hit your own teammate. Ino chimed, making herself look better to Sasuke. But, you hit me as well as Naruto then. Shikamaru sighed. You're lazy. Naruto is full of energy and doesn't need motivation to get working. There's a difference. Ino glared at Shikamaru. Also, you 3 have poor relationships as teammates. How much do you 3 even know about each other? Actually, Sakura-san, Sasuke-san, tell me how much you 2 know about Naruto. He's an orange-wearing, loud idiot who loves ramen and charges into battle without thinking with his favorite jutsu, Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Both teammates said in unison while Naruto blinked. He thought he was pretty open about himself. Wow, that's poor. Ino blinked, even surprised at her crush at how badly this was. Hey, how much do you know Naruto about your teammates? Sasuke is blood type AB, birthday July 23rd, weight is 42.2 kilograms, favorite foods are tomatoes and rice balls, especially bonito flake filling ones. He hates natto and a lot of other things. His hobbies are training and taking walks. He's a cool acting loner, though personally I think a jerk. Everyone gasped while Naruto continued. Sakura is blood type O, birthday March 28th, weight 35.4 kilograms, favorite food is pickled soup plums and fruit salad with dumplings, hates spicy foods and Ino, and her hobbies are studying and memorization. Sakura is very intelligent, but she is sometimes taking things out of perspective and often has her mind too much on Sasuke to help out and such. Ow. Naruto rubbed his head where Sakura hit him, her face red with embarrassment at how much Naruto knew. Sasuke was just wondering how much Naruto didn't know about them. Naruto, you stalker. I never stalk. Wait, what does stalk mean anyways? Naruto asked in confusion. Wait, so, you got all that information without these 2 knowing? Kiba asked, snickering at how good Naruto was with information. Yeah, you can learn a lot from just being around a person. Naruto sighed. I mean, I ate with you guys before, so that's how I know the food likes and dislikes. The basic info like weight and blood type is with our Ninja Academy yearbook. Hobbies are from what I've seen in both academy and on missions, and the same goes with attitude is from all the time I have been around you. Naruto explained while everyone looked at Naruto. Who would have thought the loud Naruto would be good at gathering information? Shikamaru sighed. And we now know why this team hasn't completely fell apart yet, and that is Naruto. What do you mean by that? Sasuke asked while raising an eyebrow. Simple, Naruto knows how you two work and uses that to get you two to work with him, though very poorly. Shikamaru sighed. Well, let's go. I want to see if my dad is around and I can get him to play shogi with me. Shikamaru dragged Ino away with Choji. See ya, let's go do some training. Kiba chimed as his teammates followed him. Both teammates left Sakura and Sasuke wide-eyed with shock. The leader of their team was Naruto. And they hardly knew a thing about Naruto, but he knew almost everything about them. Well, I will see you two later. Naruto sighed, turning to leave while Sakura and Sasuke grabbed him. Naruto sweated as Sakura smiled and a smirk was on Sasuke's lips. He had a very bad feeling about why they were smiling. Smirk equals somewhat smile for Uchiha. Come on, let's go get a bite to eat. Naruto, are you alright? Sakura whined as Sasuke and she was waiting outside the bathroom at Sasuke's house. They went to 10 restaurants after the first one as they refused to serve Naruto. The other 7 either gave Naruto poor food, and like the last 3, happened to, accidentally, dropped his food onto the blonde's head. Yeah, Naruto came out of the bathroom, drying his hair with a towel and wearing Sasuke's clothes as Naruto's clothes. All his jumpsuits were in Sasuke's washing machine. Thanks for letting me borrow your clothes, Sasuke. I'll pay for some new laundry detergent for what I used. Nah, don't worry about it. Sasuke sighed while looking at Sakura. Neither of them expected this to backfire in such a way. All they were trying to do was find out more about Naruto, but all they found out was restaurants hate the blonde for some reason, and they knew the blonde's pranks couldn't have caused this kind of hate. It's almost like Naruto killed my clan instead of Itachi kind of hate. Sasuke sweated at that thought. All 3 were brought back to reality as Naruto's stomach growled again. Even after hitting 11 restaurants, they all didn't get a bite of food to eat because Sakura and Sasuke was outraged. They gave Naruto food that would make Naruto sit or put his food on his head and left, though still paying for the food. However, several of those restaurants refused to make Sakura and Sasuke pay, but wouldn't let them leave till Naruto paid for an outrageous bill. They know why Ichiraku Ramen was Naruto's favorite restaurant. It was probably the only food place that treated Naruto nicely. No, I'm going to pay you back for letting me use your shower and washing machine. Naruto sighed. Naruto. Sakura glared at Naruto. I don't take anything unless I earned it. Naruto sighed before getting lightly hit in the head by Sasuke. Don't worry about it, dope. Just think this is payback for all the food we didn't eat you paid for. Sasuke sighed, feeling guilty about what happened. Now this made both Sakura and him rethink how they treat Naruto and how patient the blonde really was. They were amazed by all the hate that was directed to the blonde that Naruto hasn't snapped at them before, with them adding fuel to the fire that was the stress the blonde dealt with. How could such a lovable blonde that was like a kitten be hated so bad? Hey, Naruto, what are you doing? Sakura asked as Naruto dug in his backpack. Looking for my brush. I know it's in here. Naruto sighed, putting several kunai and shuriken on the table that caught both his teammates' attention. Ah, here it is. Naruto pulled out an old brush that was made of a strange metal material and began brushing his hair. Sasuke picked up a kunai and touched the edge with narrowed eyes. He pulled out his own kunai and pressed the 2 kunai together. Snap, had the HK? Naruto blinked in shock as all 3 looked at the broken kunai pieces that were once Naruto's kunai. Sasuke, how did you break my kunai? Naruto, this kunai are junk. Who the heck sold these to you? Sasuke growled, now realizing Naruto wasn't just forced with food establishments refusing to treat the blonde right, but weapon shops, too. These are the worst shuriken I have ever seen. Sakura said in shock while studying the shuriken. Naruto's shuriken were way off balance and full of nicks. Your jumpsuits. Both genin gasped in unison as they realized why the blonde wore those stupid jumpsuits. The shop owners where he bought those neon orange jumpsuits forced the blonde to buy them because those jumpsuits screamed, "Kill me," in the ninja battlefield. Though Naruto managed to still be stealthy when he needed to. With the bright jumpsuits and poor equipment easily showed the villagers wanted Naruto dead. Both mentally wanted to hit themselves at the fact they never saw this before. "Ak, what are you doing?" Naruto shouted in shock as Sakura and Sasuke grabbed him. "We are going shopping," Sakura snorted. "No." Sakura and Sasuke was shocked as suddenly, Naruto's nails somehow turned into claws and he clawed the Uchiha compound's outside walls when they happened to get outside to stop them. "I am fine with what I got." Naruto didn't even try going into shops except the one that was somewhat alright with him, though it was closed right now to expand the floor space. They often refused to let him shop, but several would throw stuff at him and once he almost got turned into a metal structure when he complained the high prices he was forced to pay at a blacksmith. Shopping absolutely scared him now that he was very careful just buy the basic needs and that was it. "No, it isn't," Sakura shouted, inner Sakura's anger taking over and she dragged Naruto as the blonde's claws stayed in the wood as she pulled the blonde. Sasuke really didn't care for the scratches on the wall outside his compound as it was well worth getting Naruto what he deserved. "You are getting better stuff, even if you don't want it." Though he was currently scared by Sakura's new fury and power as well as how Naruto managed to turn his nails into claws that seemed to. Never mind, they can cut metal as Naruto happened to latch onto a metal light pole and made some deep cuts in it as Sakura pulled the frightened blonde off of it. Sasuke mentally put down that little ability of Naruto's down while following his teammates. It was about time to see what Naruto deal with every day, as well as see why the blonde was afraid of shopping. What the heck? Kiba, along Shino and Hinata, watched in shock as one furious Sakura was dragging Naruto who was clawing the ground like a cat towards the market part of the village with Sasuke, who was equally mad, following. "Yesh, you expect Naruto would grow up. There goes our advice to Team 7. Kiba groaned. Kiba, they are not angry at Naruto," Shino pointed out as they noticed none of the anger was directed towards Naruto, but where they were going. "I think they finally figured out why Naruto always wore those jumpsuits." Shikamaru sighed, walking up with Choji and Ino. "What are you talking about?" Hinata stuttered. "Well, the villagers clearly do not like Naruto. I believe it's because of Naruto's birthday." Shikamaru sighed. "What about Naruto's birthday?" Ino asked. "Well, Naruto was born on the night of the Kyuubi attack. The villagers probably think Naruto is the Kyuubi reborn as a powerful demon probably wouldn't stay down and use Naruto as the scapegoat for their anger and hate after losing so many friends and family from that event." Shikamaru explained. "What? That is so wrong. He's just a normal kid." Ino growled. "Yeah, but hate can change people and humans just naturally hate what they don't understand as I did a little research on Naruto. But he had no information on where he came from and such accepted adoption paperwork which was mostly blacked out. So, basically Naruto just ended up appearing here on the day of that attack and with no past history. You guess what furious people would think." Naruto. Hinata frowned, but was amazed at how strong Naruto was. "I have a new respect for Naruto." "But, how can someone just appear?" Kiba asked. "Don't know. Maybe Naruto's parents died during the battles going on then or something like that and Naruto was taken in by Konoha ninja. We may never know." Shikamaru sighed. "But, I know one thing. Naruto does seem to have some demon possible traits." Everyone sweated at the fact Naruto left claw marks on the dirt path. Though, even demon, Naruto is very loyal and friendly, more so than most people these days. Shikamaru sighed as everyone nodded. The owner of a shop that sold all sorts of supplies for shinobi glared at Uzumaki Naruto as Sakura and Sasuke dragged him into the store. He began to walk over to kick the blonde out. He did not service demons. "Get out of my shop." The owner recoiled as both Sakura and Sasuke gave him a full blast of fury-filled killer intent. "Oh, hello Uchiha-san. Young miss. How might I help you both and is this blonde delinquent bothering you too?" The killer intent increased by tenfold from the two genin. "No, you are," Sasuke said with venom. The instant they brought Naruto into the place Sasuke usually shopped for supplies, everyone instantly shot a glare of hate at Naruto. This only increased both teammates' anger. Heh, guys, let's just go. Naruto whined, trying to escape his teammates' death grips and escape this possible death trap. No, both shouted in unison before dragging the blonde deeper, causing the shop owner to raise an eyebrow at what was going on. Whatever the two genin were doing to the demon, it seemed quite afraid of it. The shop owner didn't know it was the shop staff and the blonde was scared off, not his teammates. Also, the fact the blonde was wearing Uchiha clothing confused the shop owner even more. Okay, first on the list are clothes. Sakura chimed while Naruto looked around nervously. He was not supposed to be in here and was not in the mood to get hurt. Come here, Naruto. Why yes. Naruto came over to the blonde, clearly fearful. Sakura and Sasuke were shocked at Naruto's demeanor, but they just realized how bad the villagers' treatment towards Naruto must be for Naruto to be like that in a shop. Let's see, we need to get some dark colors. Maybe some green, too. Sakura chimed while looking through the rack of clothing. Sakura. I like orange, so I am fine with what I got. Naruto sighed sheepishly. He wasn't complaining with what he has now. He could be just gathering dust and still hated, though not as bad as here in Konoha. He also understands beggars can't be choosers. No complaints, Naruto. You are getting new clothes. Sasuke growled. Sure, it might be mean, but the blonde was going to die because of his clothes. And it was the villagers' fault. Hey, speaking of clothes. Naruto, how are you doing on underwear? Sasuke instantly blushed at that statement. What's underwear? Naruto shyly asked in confusion while both sweated. Wow, at least we now know why Naruto never did any pranks relating to underwear. Sakura sighed. You never wore anything under your clothes? Somewhat, yeah. Naruto sighed in embarrassment. He did not get why humans wore so many layers of clothing. Then we better get you some. Wait, what do you mean by somewhat? Sakura asked only for Naruto and her to blush as Sasuke looked down the shirt Naruto was wearing and he blushed as well. Naruto. We are going to have to wait on clothes till after we have a talk back at my place. Sasuke's fury boiled over. Sakura looked at him confusedly till he whispered into her ear and she also became angry. Though, now she understood Naruto constantly asking her out on dates. The blonde didn't want a date like the kind she thought the blonde wanted. Okay, on to weapons. Sakura and Sasuke pushed Naruto away from the clothes and straight to the weapons. Naruto carefully looked at the weapons. Sure, he knew he had bad kunai, but he was able to survive with insufficient weapons since humans were still primitive compared to what he used to use. Pick out what you want. Sakura pushed Naruto and the blonde sighed. He picked up carefully several, each from different prices and studied them with a careful eye of detail. He even flicked them and listened to the sound they made before picking a brand of kunai that was a little higher than what Sakura bought, but much lower than Sasuke's usual choice of kunai. Naruto blinked as Sakura and Sasuke also grabbed the same kunai and did the same with the shuriken. Naruto also got some large shuriken and scrolls, including storage one. Then, both his teammates dragged him to the book section and they all grabbed some books. Till Naruto spotted a jewel in his eyes. He grabbed an old book, probably gotten there by mistake, and smiled before putting it in with his stuff he was going to buy. Naruto was going to grab some books on ninjutsu and even sealing books, but Sakura and Sasuke stopped him, taking the books and adding it to what they were going to buy. While Naruto also noted Sakura was writing down everything. Then, it was time for checkout. Naruto gulped as Sakura and Sasuke pushed the blonde towards the cashier and forced him to go first. The cashier looked at the store owner who nodded before the cashier rang up Naruto's stuff, but put extra charges on there to nearly double the bill. Naruto just sighed while pulling out his wallet that was green frog to pay only to jump when someone else slammed money down. Sasuke? Naruto gasped, having experienced what humans call a heart attack, though he didn't have a heart exactly. He looked at his teammate, who had put down a large amount of ryu down. The cashier looked at the Uchiha with worry. It's alright, I can pay for it. Naruto, however, recoiled as Sasuke glared at him. The cashier quickly tried to change the amount, but Sakura kept staring at the cashier and kept him from doing it. In the end, Sasuke paid for Naruto's stuff before paying for his stuff, including 3 sets of special chakra weights in the form of a sleeveless under armor that used seals to add the weight on and spread it evenly, as well make the under armor stretch to fit whoever the chakra attuned to its size is. Since it was seal-type weights, it came with a major price tag, but Sasuke was very frugal with money since the Uchiha massacre, and it didn't make a dent in his account. Then Sakura paid for her stuff and they ran off, heading back to the Uchiha compound. "Do you know what that was about?" the cashier asked his boss. "I have no idea. I know the demon wasn't using an illusion as I had ninja training before." The store owner sighed. "But why that demon was wearing the Uchiha's clothing is even weirder. Maybe those two were his teammates, and since they don't know, must have ruined his clothes or some of his stuff and came here to replace them. It would explain the Uchiha's clothing. His clothes could be in the wash." "Yeah, that was probably it," the store owner sighed. "It wasn't like that was going to happen anytime soon." "Yes, that's right. 6 large cheese pizza, a veg lover's small pizza, and a meat lover's medium pizza." "Okay, thank you." Sasuke sighed as he hanged up the phone and went into the living room. "Pizza will be here in 20 minutes or it's free." "Good," Sakura sighed. She went over to her house to get some clothes to spend the night at Sasuke's after they forced Naruto to tell them everything. Naruto was the female container of the Kyuubi no Yoko and also spent almost a week without food or sleep as she got evicted, though she explained it was really drunks destroyed her apartment and the neighbors made it so the landlord couldn't give her another from her apartment. However, when her parents asked if Naruto was staying over as well and found out the blonde was, they refused to let her go. She, however, snapped at them for judging Naruto without knowing her, or he, as Naruto was hiding as a guy. A huge argument happened with Sakura packing up all her stuff and running away to the Uchiha compound in the end, glad Naruto let her borrow the storage scrolls she bought to let her try them out. She was not going back home anytime soon. "I'm sorry." Naruto sighed, looking at Sakura with watery eyes. "Because of me. Don't worry about it, Naruto. If my parents are so blinded by hate that they can't tell a blonde hair girl from a demon, then there's no point for me to stay there." Sakura sighed. "But, Sasuke, how are you a girl?" Sakura whined, hoping her crush would say it was a joke, but she knew her reality wish was gone. "Actually, I thought I was a guy before the Uchiha massacre, but when I woke up after the event, I found myself a girl, as only the doctors and Hokage know that as well. It seems some kind of illusion or powerful henge was used on me when I was a baby, but no one knows why." Sasuke sighed, sitting down with the now Kunoichi Team 7. "But now that we now know Naruto is a girl, there was no way I was going to get stuck rooming with Kakashi." "I see." Sakura sighed. She knew Kakashi was a pervert and all three could probably guess the book the Sliver Hair Sensei read was smut. It was probably why Sasuke did not want to room with the guy. "But, speaking of death, since there was so much death here, are there ghosts?" Sakura asked while Naruto froze up. She did not like human ghosts. "I don't know for sure. At first, as a kid, I thought there were ghosts here." Naruto shivered in fear. "But, after the wave mission, I have been seeing strange little globes of light." Ding dong. Eek. Sakura and Sasuke looked up to find Naruto had clawed her nails into the roof and managed to stick to the roof by said nails. "I thought only cats in anime could do that." Sakura sighed as Sasuke went to the door and got the pizza and paid for it. "It's alright, Naruto. Just the pizza guy. Sorry." Naruto jumped down. "I don't like people ghosts." Naruto sighed. "People ghosts?" Sasuke asked, handing out the pizza to each order, including the mega order of pizza for Naruto and her hunger. "Yeah, human ghosts. Other ghosts I am fine with, but not human ghosts." Naruto sighed. "How can you tell?" Sakura asked, raising an eyebrow. "I am pretty sensitive." Naruto sighed. "I can see things many people haven't seen in ages." "Like what?" Sasuke asked. "Like me." "Ack." All three shouted in fear when a large purple cat with pink stripes and tips on feet and long bushy tail appeared out of nowhere and had orange eyes along with a somewhat dark look, especially with its long claws. "You mangy cat." Naruto tried to hit the cat with a pillow, but it faded away. "Don't do that." Naruto looked to the couch where it reappeared. "Alice, Alice." The cat held up a paw finger and cooed at Naruto. "Such an attitude. Naruto. What is that?" Sakura asked while Sasuke's mouth just opened and closed like a fish as she was speechless. "That? I am not a that." Nor in it. But, I am a Cheshire Cat. Pleased to meet you, Alice's new comrades. The cat pulled off the top of its skull like a cap and bowed before putting its scalp back on. Alice? Sakura and Sasuke looked at Naruto. I thought I told you not to call me that. Naruto snorted in anger. What are you here for anyways? You usually don't leave Wonderland unless something interests you. Don't shoot me. I am just a messenger. The cat grinned. Though, something also interested me, but I still came for a purpose. A message? Now, this is odd for you to do something for another person. Naruto asked with interested. Sakura and Sasuke, however, were lost. What was a Cheshire Cat? What was Wonderland? And why was this cat calling Naruto Alice? Simple, Alice. We all are tired of you not playing with us. Cheshire Cat chimed. It's time to show what you are made of, Alice. And I know it isn't sugar and spice and everything nice, like little girls should be made of. With a snap of its paws, Naruto engulfed in a puff of smoke and the blonde appeared with longer hair that now went down over her eyes. Dark sliver as in shine whisker marks. 13 wires coming off the back of the blonde's neck at the hairline. And then she had articulation lines like on machines on her joints, like a marionette. Naruto looked at her body and turned red with anger. Cheshire. Naruto began to try to catch the cat. I am going to skin you. Naruto. Naruto squeaked in fear as Sakura and Sasuke began to poke her. Weird. You're still soft like a human, but look like. A cyborg? Sakura said while Naruto looked down. No, I'm a robot. An alien robot to be exact. Naruto sighed, expecting her teammates to shout at her or something like panic. However, Sakura and Sasuke looked at her confusedly. What? Sakura spoke first. How can you be a robot? You are way too human-like to be one. Agreed. You're more human than most ninja. Maybe because my kind is similar to you humans in body-wise, though we have flex armor for skin and then a metal body underneath for more protection. And stop poking me. Naruto snapped as Sakura and Sasuke wouldn't stop poking her. It was quite annoying. Sorry. I'm amazed at how soft your skin is. What body lotion do you use? Sakura sheepishly grinned. Body lotion? Is that some kind of lubricant for joints? Naruto blinked as both her teammates sweated. Okay, maybe you are an alien robot. Sasuke sighed at how naive Naruto was and now it kind of made sense that she was an alien learning human culture. But, where did you come? Can I keep it short? Naruto asked, looking down with a painful look in her eyes. Yeah, Sakura sighed. Her mind was still stuck on the fact Naruto had Kyuubi inside her. I come from a planet called Pasadilacron, though it no longer exists. My people as my ship is an ark to save the younger generation, but I crashed into something in slipspace and my ship crashed into this planet. I lay dormant for many, many years while my people woke up in the later ages of humankind and shifted their existence to the shadow world, this world's shadow that is formed by the powers here. When I woke up, but my body was still in major disrepair, I went to the shadow world in my flay form or a ghost-like form. My people didn't want me since I was an out-of-date and defected model, and the fact my job in my people's society was gone as well thanks to all the resources on this planet and others taking my place. So, I came back to this world and began to watch humans for several centuries while waiting for my body to slowly repair, though I didn't know the language then. My fear of human ghosts came from being teased by human ghosts who can be right down scary. Naruto shivered. But, when I got my body functioning again, I was found by the Hokage and his lover Uzumaki Kushina. They took me in as they were going to have a child and loved to have another. I was actually happy, though I freaked the Hokage out with being alien. Till the Kyuubi came. Kushina died giving birth to a stillborn. Since there was no other infants the Hokage could seal the Kyuubi in, I offered myself for the sealing. Right before the Hokage died, he gave me my real name meant for his dead son. Uzumaki Naruto. Ever since then, even though I have been hated and even denied my existence, I actually feel free and exist as a real being. Not a copy like all the other Alice units like myself are somewhat designed to be like the first Alice made by our creator to protect the planet she created with her own body and lead it till she died, and the production line connected to the creator began making Alice units with similar powers to the Alice. I'm Alice 0013 to my people. But, here, I am Uzumaki Naruto. I am actually a person. Naruto began crying, all the emotions she had overflowing her. It's alright. Sakura hugged Naruto as did Sasuke, though Sasuke's hug was stiffer thanks to tomboyish pride. "We won't let anyone hurt you. You're our teammate. Heck, our friend. Thanks." Naruto dried her tears. "Ah, I knew this would be interesting." Naruto glared at the cat. "But how are you going to protect Alice when you two are pretty weak?" "Why you?" Sasuke growled, glaring at the cat. "No worries. No worries. I, Cheshire Cat, strive to help the weak." Two balls of light appeared before the cat before each shot into Sakura and Sasuke's forehead. "Just a little gift. Oh, and you have an upgrade now, Alice, to help you hide the wires. But now, your friends also have a gift long lost to humans. Goodbye." The cat faded away with its large grin disappearing last. "What gift?" Sasuke asked as Sakura looked behind Sasuke and screamed. "So cute." Sakura hugged a ghost look being that looked like a shy pink hair girl in some kind of robe ghost costume and holding a lantern. "You can see me?" the little ghost asked. "Yes, you're cute." Sasuke and Naruto sweated. "I see. I didn't know old mana like Cheshire can give humans back their abilities to see mana." Naruto sighed, getting confused looks from Sakura and Sasuke. Mana are beings made of the energies they're named after called mana. Mana is like unrefined chakra, which was why I offered off my body to seal the Kyuubi, as it is a wild chakra beast thanks to forming from corrupted mana thanks to the fall of alchemy. Naruto explained. Mana almost became extinct, but now they are back and thriving, though they keep away from humans. That mana in front of you is called a flay, a ghost-type mana. A ghost type? But she is so cute. Sakura cooed over the cute mana. Yeah, flay are as they often evolve from nymphs. Water-type mana, as the original ghost-type mana came from my planet, as you saw with Cheshire and well. I don't know if mana have genes, but you can guess what I mean. Naruto sighed while her teammates nodded. But, if you can see mana now, that means Cheshire awakened possible alchemic abilities. Alchemic? Sasuke asked, sweating as the ghost mana actually liked Sakura hugging her and saying she was soft. Alchemy. The art my people made by mixing science with magic, which helped somewhat with how jutsu came to be. Naruto smiled. Who needs to buy clothes when we can make our own to our design? Wait, in fact, since that illusion is not on me, I can just change my clothes at will with my flex armor. Naruto smiled happily. Don't think you are getting out of clothes shopping with that. Sakura glared at Naruto, who comically cried. Also, we are, secretly, buy clothes for you too, Sasuke. Sasuke paled. She didn't want to dress up girly. Oh, I will call you Plush because you are like a plush animal. So you want to be my alchemist? The mana now known as Plush asked. Alchemist? Sakura asked while Naruto giggled. An alchemist is a person who uses alchemy. Mana often make contracts with alchemists, and it helps people make items easier depending on the elements. Flay is a rare ghost type, as ghost material is hard to get, so beginner's luck. Naruto. I think my Manasan is a treasure trove of rare mana. Sasuke sighed as even more flay appeared along with other strange-looking mana. Great. The Uchiha compound is a negative mana spot. Naruto sighed. Might as well get used to it, as I can eat negative mana. Don't mind if I rent an apartment here? No. You are staying with me here along with Sakura. This house is large enough and we can help each other take care of each other. Sasuke sighed. Plus, it's going to take me some time to get used to now being able to see the ghosts. Sasuke sighed while looking at the mana. At least the mysteries around Naruto were done with, though they all didn't know their misadventures were just beginning. However, there was one question on Sakura and Sasuke's minds. Can alien robots use magic? Sakura and Naruto instantly woke up to the smell of smoke. They both jumped up from their sleeping bags and bolted to the kitchen. They, however, both sweated at the mess around Sasuke, as the girl pretending to be a boy was not faring so well with cooking. Sorry, I just was trying to make breakfast for today. Sasuke sighed as Naruto took over cooking pancakes while Sakura and she cleaned up the kitchen. I don't cook a lot. Well, don't worry. We will teach you how to cook. Sakura sighed, glad her mother forced her to help her out in the kitchen. Thanks. Sasuke sighed, swallowing her pride as it was clear she was bad at cooking. Yeah, actually, maybe you'll be a better cook at alchemic food recipes. Naruto chuckled, carrying a large plate of pancakes to the table in the kitchen. Can you do that with alchemy? And you better not eat all those, since I can see they are chocolate chip. Sasuke glared at Naruto. Sasuke wasn't much into sweets, but chocolate chip items, especially with semi-sweet or dark chocolate chips, were her favorite sweets. No, if I'm still hungry, I'll feed of the mana in this large spot. Naruto sighed, getting confused looks. The Uchiha compound is over a well of negative mana energy which attracts all the dark, evil, ghost, and unique mana of those elements. Mana is the main source of energy for my people and mana, so you could think my people and mana are somewhat cousins. Oh, can evil be an element? Sakura asked as Plush sat on the back of her head. Like a little kid. Yes, the concept of evil element is not the evil you are thinking of. Darkness and evil is not always as it seems, and it mainly goes for cursed items and energies of such and curses on items and incarnations. Oh, both Naruto's teammates nodded. So, we are going to be alchemists as well as ninja? Sasuke asked. The mana of the Uchiha compound gave the Uchiha some chilling news about her brother and that he was being controlled by someone else, and this person was the true cause of the Uchiha massacre. The reason Sasuke was even alive was because Itachi was able to get control of his body for a little while and lied to Sasuke before knocking the younger sibling out and running away before he lost control on his body again. Also, that Itachi was able to see mana and the mana in the Uchiha compound was Itachi's friends, though he believed they were spirits or demons. Yeah, alchemists often have to face dangerous monsters that are also partly made from mana to get supplies, so alchemists also fight. We'll bring alchemy in when we take the Chunin exams, but beginning train in both alchemy and the ninja arts. We can play a nasty prank on Kakashi while getting stronger. Naruto evilly chuckled. What kind of prank? Sakura frowned. Was this the lovely alien curious of humans from before? Just make him extremely confused that we finally are getting along like best buds, including you not hitting me and Sasuke talking a little bit more. Kind of a first little goal to meet with the ninja arts area. But, first, we'll have to make Sasuke's house into our new home and atelier. Naruto hummed happily. Atelier? Sakura asked while Sasuke wondered what all the blonde was going to do with her house. It's an alchemist's workshop. Also, Sakura and I have to pick out a room and make it our own, so why not change the house a little bit since it's kind of gloomy? You can see it as a new start for you and the Uchiha clan, Sasuke. Fine, but I get final say with colors except your rooms. Sasuke sighed. Okay, so, where to put up the major workshop? Hey, does this place have a fireplace? Naruto asked. She already had design ideas in her head. Yeah, why? Sasuke asked, watching Sakura feed her mana. She wondered if give food to mana was okay. Then that is where the workshop is going. Now, let's get to work. Naruto chimed, making her favorite cross-hand seal. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Sarutobi Hiruzen was the third Hokage. He had been through many battles and wise with lots of experience. However, he was facing a very scary foe, even scarier than paperwork. Angry parents. That little demon is corrupting my baby. Mrs. Haruno shouted in anger. He managed to get her to yell at us and now she ran away. I demand you either get him removed from our baby's team or put Sakura on another team. Mr. Haruno added. However, before the two could continue their rant, the Hokage was grateful that Amino Iruka came into the room. This Chunin is an expert dealing with anger parents. Ah, what might I help you with, Iruka-san? The Hokage asked, wanting help with this little problem. Have you seen Naruto? I found out today he had been forced out of his apartment. The Hokage sighed. Naruto seems to be getting a bad rap lately. That little brat must be at the Uchiha compound. That was where our daughter ran away to. Mrs. Haruno growled. Sakura ran away from home to the Uchiha compound? Iruka asked in confusion. Are you sure she did it for Naruto or Sasuke? The scarred Chunin sighed. He knew Sakura was a huge Sasuke fangirl. Yes, when she asked to stay over at the Uchiha's place when the demon brat was also there, we told her no and she actually yelled back at us. Mrs. Haruno shouted in anger while the Hokage and Iruka sweated. Then, she sneaked off with all her stuff. I think we should hear the other side of the story from your daughter. The Hokage got up. He just wondered how much trouble Naruto was in as they went towards the Uchiha compound, though they found the team halfway there trying to get Naruto into a clothes shop. Sakura, Sasuke, what are you doing? Iruka asked. Noticing the pure fright in Naruto's eyes as the two genin were trying to yank Naruto off a power pole where the blonde's claw-like nails were dug quite deep in. Mrs. and Mr. Haruno were beginning to wonder what was going on to make the demon so afraid. 1. Taking Naruto shopping and 2. Get Naruto to deal with his shopping phobia. Sakura growled before all three fell back after getting Naruto off the pole. Ow! All three got up, though Sasuke kept the blonde from latching back on the pole. Luckily, the upgrade Naruto got made it so her joints all completely smooth over except on the elbows and knees. But that problem was easy to fix with clothes. Naruto's wires went back into a small base at the hairline on the back of the blonde's neck that wasn't visible thanks to her hair being a little bit longer than before. You have a phobia of shopping? Iruka asked, wondering if that was possible. Sure, he could understand some people don't like to shop, but a person afraid of shopping was new for him. Hokage-sama. Sakura glared at the Hokage who blinked. Do you know what kind of treatment the shops have been giving Naruto? The Hokage rolled his eyes. Naruto, why didn't you tell me the shops were mistreating you? Because I found a shop that charged me normal price for okay stuff, but they are currently doing remodeling on the shop. Naruto sighed. Iruka, on the other hand, now knew that this event was actually Naruto related, but in a good way. Also, many restaurants also treat him badly. Sasuke snorted in anger. The Hokage sighed. It was about time he cracked down on many places for what they have been doing to Naruto. The blonde wasn't a demon, but a normal human child. I see. I will fix that. Permanently this time as they didn't get the idea the first times they have been warned and all. Sakura. Mrs. Haruno glared at her daughter. You are in so much trouble. No, I am not. I moved out and I'm now living at Sasuke's place with Naruto. Sakura snorted at her parents. If you are so blind not to see the real Naruto behind the image your hate caused, then I rather never go back home. She has you in a cornered with that. The Hokage sighed. He could tell Naruto's teammates knew the truth and he was glad, as well as amazed how well Sakura and Sasuke took it and now actually wanted to help the blonde out. Plus, this will help with their teamwork as they are all on the same team and learn some independence. But, Sasuke, do you have locks on the doors of the rooms Sakura and Naruto are in? The Hokage asked, to ensure Sakura was safe to her parents. Yes, that was one of the things I asked they sure to get with the room they choose. Sasuke sighed. There was no way she was going to have planning for pranks on themselves happening. Especially, now that Naruto knew what underwear was and living with her. Fine. Sakura's parents stormed off in anger while Sakura glared at them. Well, I'm glad to see you three trying to helping each other. But what are you three shopping for? Iruka asked. Clothes. Sakura chimed while Sasuke groaned. Naruto needs some better clothes. But now that we have an atelier, we can just make the clothes there. Naruto whined, trying to get away from shopping. Not gonna work, Naruto. The blonde comically cried as both glared at the blonde. Atelier? Iruka asked while the Hokage smiled. I didn't know you were an alchemist, Naruto. Yeah, sorry I never told you. Naruto let out a sigh. It's just I didn't have a proper place to work, so I just never thought much of it. Naruto sighed with Sakura and Sasuke looking at the blonde alien with worry, but Naruto smiled at them. It was a sign that the Hokage knew about the blonde alien status. But now that Sasuke is letting me use his place as an atelier, I can do more than ever. But don't tell anyone. I also discovered Sakura and Sasuke also have alchemic potential and we want to surprise everyone later, though we are going to work on ninjutsu first to pull a prank on Kakashi since we just managed to get over our differences. Naruto snickered. Naruto shivered under Iruka's glare. You mean to say you flunked on purpose? No. Ninjutsu and alchemy are two different things. Naruto paled. Trust me, if you are good with alchemy and magic like me, trying to learn jutsu from scratch is very confusing. Naruto groaned. But it at least helped me from getting kicked out of the academy as my math and science skills kept my grades just high enough so they couldn't kick me out. Okay, Iruka sighed. He didn't teach all of Naruto's classes, but he did remember seeing the math teacher and she was always wondering why Iruka had a hard time with Naruto. Now he knew why she said that. But what is an alchemist? It's a person who uses alchemy, an art that is a mix of alchemy and science that was believed to be lost till Naruto was found wandering around Konoha 12 years ago and Uzumaki Kushina adopted the blonde. Naruto's clan migrated to worlds called Alterworlds, worlds made of pure energy that connect to this world, just before the end of the alchemic age with other alchemy families which all records of are lost in time. Since Naruto's clan never adapted to jutsu, Naruto doesn't have a chakra network, though he can still use jutsu with mana with a little difficulty. Also, Naruto's clan members age a lot slower thanks to being in such a place, so Naruto is older than he looks. He was exploring other alterworlds when he managed to end back here. Since he was an orphan to begin with, he was happy when he got adopted even though it was short-lived. The Hokage sighed. Oh, I see. Iruka sighed. So, Naruto's lack of a chakra network made it so the Kyuubi could be sealed inside him. Though, Iruka was quite glad Naruto actually knew of his family and heritage, but was annoyed to know Naruto was older than he looked, meaning the blonde should act more mature. Well, I'm just glad you found a place to stay as I heard you got kicked out of your apartment. See ya, and maybe I'll treat you to some ramen later. Yes, raw ak. Sakura and Sasuke dragged the blonde off while Iruka and the Hokage sweated. Well, I better go. I still got some papers to grade. Iruka sighed while the Hokage nodded. However, the Hokage did wonder if Naruto told Sakura and Sasuke about her real heritage. It would explain how Sakura and Sasuke now could possibly gain the ability to use alchemy. But, first, time to deal with those shops and the council, as they need to get hit with this, too. The Hokage sighed while heading back to the Hokage tower to call a council meeting. Maybe leaking out Naruto alchemy secret and the story the fourth and he made up to help cover for Naruto will help the blonde be seen with more value and be treated better for it. Yesh, remind me to never go shopping with Sakura ever again. Sasuke groaned while both Naruto and she were sitting in the living room after all the shopping they did. Who needs training when you have that? Naruto added before both saw Sakura glaring at them. Sorry. Naruto apologized, though Sasuke just hid behind the blonde as Sakura wasn't as nice, know that she knew Sasuke was a girl. Never mind. Sakura sighed, remembering Sasuke and Naruto didn't shop a lot. So, aren't we going to train? Yeah, first, we need to put these on. Sasuke showed the weight under armor along with the instructions that came with the under armor. Okay, we just have to focus our chakra into them to get them to produce weight. Oh, I have mana, so it might not work. Naruto sighed. Don't worry. The only downside is since this one seal can hold over a lot of tons, you can't set the weight down, excluding turning the seal off to drop the weight and move freely. Which you kind of can't do with a lot of seal weights, especially as complex as this one, so the weight won't affect others carrying you and the surroundings around you. Sasuke sighed. Wait, should you be doing this? You are a robot. Yeah, I can get strong like this. My muscle units have decreased in power over the centuries, so this will help me get back into shape. Naruto sighed while focusing her mana into her under armor. Naruto, that's way too much. Sakura shouted, sensing how much Naruto had put in somehow. Nope. Naruto pulled on the under armor before putting back on the orange shirt Sakura had her buy to use for training, as well as elbow guards to cover the lines on her elbows. Actually, I hit it too low. I can naturally carry around, I believe it is 3 tons in human terms, as I am a part of a giant ship which I had to maintain, so my body will always be able to lift 3 tons. Nani? Sakura shouted while Sasuke just stared at Naruto wide-eyed. Then why are you so weak against humans? My body's functions are restricted by power restrictors to keep my body from using too much energy and forming the strength. However, one of the reasons I am a defected bot is I can bypass those restrictors, but doing it for a long time will cause my body to overheat. A big no-no for me, as it will make my body do a force shutdown to protect itself. Naruto sighed, pumping more mana into the vest till she felt the weight. There we go. Well, hurry up. We got to figure out what our strengths and weaknesses are. Sakura and Sasuke sweated. Naruto was probably holding back a lot, but then again, most of it would probably shout, hey. Look at me. I'm a robot. The instant the blonde used it. Sakura and Sasuke quickly got their weights ready, with Sasuke supporting 40 pounds while Sakura with 20 and putting on some clothes for training before they left Naruto's clones to finish the last bits of remodeling. They quickly went deep into the woods where Sasuke had her training ground at. Alright, Naruto sighed, looking at two comrades. We will do the tree climbing exercise with our weights first before moving on to the water exercise we found in the books we bought. We are mainly doing this for increasing our chakra and getting better control of it. The increasing mainly for Sakura, as I remember from my roaming days of a Kunoichi who used her precise chakra control to increase her strength. Sasuke and I need to do this to increase our control. After we do, say, 100 laps on the trees, we'll start with push-ups and such to build up natural strength. Sakura and Sasuke gulped. Naruto, do you know what you are doing? Sakura asked. Yes, like the Hokage said, I am much older than I look. Even though I am the 13th Alice model made, by the time my planet was forced to evacuate, the number of Alice models made was up almost to 5,000. Both humans gasped. I may be an old bot, but I know how to train new models, so it should be the same with you humans. Now, let's get to work. The less you complain, the faster it goes. Naruto sighed, picking a tree for herself while Sakura and Sasuke looked at each other. They were about to ask a question when Naruto stopped them. And, don't ask for my age. After a couple of million years, you lose count of how many years have passed since born. Well, at least we now know why Naruto acts like she does. She can remember her age and thinks she's a toddler. Sasuke chuckled before finding Naruto behind her. How? Warping. Now, what were you saying? Naruto evilly smirked while Sasuke sweated in fear. Naruto was quite scary when she wants to be. Hours later, my muscles have fallen off the bones. Sakura groaned, laying on the ground alongside a sitting Sasuke, both panting and sweating hard while Naruto was finishing her training, which was much bigger in amount because of what she was. How are we supposed to get stronger? By training this hard? Because 999,989 hard 999,990 training helps 999,991 muscles with 999,992 fatigue and 999,993 harder faster to 999,994 strengthen. Naruto panted, doing squats with a large boulder on her back. She finished her squats and dropped the boulder, panting hard as well to cool off. Wow, we did pretty well as it's not even 3 yet. Sure, Sasuke sighed. However, her body felt like jam with all Naruto put them through, but she saw that she wasn't working hard enough to begin with by just the simple training she did. I don't think I can walk. Yeah, Naruto stopped as she sensed something and her eyes became glowing orange with gray whites. Naruto? Sakura asked as Sasuke and she watched the whisker-like marks release some kind of metal-like liquid that formed into a visor that covered Naruto's eyes as the blonde scanned their surroundings. Dope, what's wrong? Sasuke asked, kind of freaked out by the visor. It was somewhat bird-like, but with the lines of the whiskers made it look weird. Then Naruto spotted what she sensed in a large boulder nearby. I think I might not be the only alien on this planet. Naruto went over to the boulder. What do you mean by that, Naruto? Isn't there others like you in the shadow of this world? Sakura asked. I wasn't talking about them. Sakura and Sasuke watched as Naruto's hands came apart to expose a gray glowing circle in the palm and got into a fighting position. Naruto slammed her hands, which had gray magic circles in front of the palms, into the boulder for it to crack apart into pieces, and Naruto grabbed a green pentagon plate with several other shades of green and a blue insignia in the middle with her right hand, which reformed itself. This is what I was talking about. Naruto grimaced as her left hand hadn't turned back to normal. She shook it, still in weapon mode. Stupid piece of scrap metal. Naruto slammed her hand against a tree, which was when it turned back. Sakura and Sasuke just stared at the blonde. That there just goes to show how old I am. As well as proves the human concept: if it won't work, it works quite well sometimes. Naruto sighed as Sakura and Sasuke got up and walked over to the blonde. So, what is it? Sakura asked. No clue except it's a storage container. Naruto sighed. How? My people used a similar style of compacting ourselves into plates, though this one was done completely by technology, as my people used magic and alchemy to do ours. Naruto sighed. We best go see the Hokage. If this is another alien species, then a lot of problems may come into be. What problems? Sakura asked. The problems of the greedy council and, also, possible panic of humans. Oh, both humans sighed as they realized people who just do what the sci-fi movie plots did. Basically, most of the population would panic, the greedy uppers would try to use the alien, and only a few would not do that at all. Can we at least hit the compound first and shower? I feel like I am covered in dirt. Sakura groaned while Naruto sniffed herself to flinch. Yeah, I need a bath. Naruto sighed. The downside of sweat glands units on a robot was the odor was worse than a sweaty human. The Hokage sighed as he headed towards the Uchiha compound to tell Naruto a small problem that had come up. The civilian council and war hawks noticed the lack of paperwork on Naruto and began to demand to tell of Naruto's origins, but many did not believe in the story made up to cover Naruto's true origins. They demanded proof of Naruto's existence. The Hokage knocked on the door of Sasuke's home for Sakura to answer. Oh, Hokage-sama, we were about to go see you. Sakura let Hiruzen in and found Sasuke and Naruto sitting in the living room. Don't tell me, the council doesn't believe the cover story? Naruto asked, while Sarutobi Hiruzen sat down with Sakura. Yes, they want proof of your existence as they looked into your records. The Hokage sighed. Then, might as well tell the truth now. Naruto sighed while leaning back and pointing at the green plate. That, right there, is a sleeping alien not from my kind. Great, you know the council. I know, but you are the Hokage and the fourth left behind a little backup plan to help prevent the council from trying to use me. Naruto smirked. It will put me down as an ambassador of my kind and they already signed with it just in case something like this happened. However, I want to make sure this alien in the plate is safe because I might have to claim it as one of my own to protect it from the council. Just then, the plate glowed green and Naruto quickly knocked it off the table before it let off a rainbow light. A black robot appeared as the plate disappeared. The robot was a little feminine looking with black armor with orange and red flame markings on its arms, chest, and legs as it had a gray face, hands, and feet while wheels were on its back. It had a blue-like visor where its eyes were supposed to be for two orange lights to turn on to form a pair of simple eyes. Where am I? The robot asked with Naruto understanding, but everyone heard beeping noises. Hello? Naruto waved at the bot who waved back. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you. I'm Turbofox. The bot replied. I'm a mini-con from the planet Cybertron, though I have no clue where I am. Planet Gaia, Country Fire Country, City Konohagakure or Konoha for short. Naruto explained, noticing everyone else was confused. Am I the only one who can understand you? Yeah, the language of the mini-cons are downloaded into the processors of those who wake us up. Turbofox sighed while scratching the back of her head. I see. Then, tell me everything as I will have to make up a very good story to protect you as I am also an alien on this planet. Naruto sighed. She did not know why her luck was so bad. 30 minutes or so later. After listening to Turbofox, Naruto explained that Turbofox was a mini-con from a planet called Cybertron. The mini-con escaped their planet after being used as pawns and slaves by the larger Transformers in a war between the good Autobots and evil Deceptions. But then, as they found, the mini-con hit something in slipspace Naruto's ship and several plates fell to this planet as it is clear the ship landed on another planet millions of light years away. I see. Then, you are going to say Turbofox is the more robotic cousin of your kind? Hiruzen asked. Yes. These Transformers could possibly have a similar type of creator like my people as we also have similar, soul, types as you humans could say. Naruto sighed. But, if I hold back now with the truth, it will come to bite us in the tailpipes very hard later on. However, we could use this to our advantage for privacy and protection when we play our cards right. Oh, wait. What's going on? Turbofox asked, worried about whatever was going on. Konoha is a ninja village and that means it is a military force. However, there is some greedy council members who would try to get us dismantled to be studied and even possibly try to turn us into weapons. Naruto sighed as all three humans saw the mini-con shaking in fear of that answer. However, knowing those greedy humans, we might actually use this to our advantage. Naruto smirked. I'll have to go to the shadow world real quick to explain the situation and my plan, first, though. I understand. I will tell the council that you will meet them personally tomorrow to show your proof. The Hokage sighed while getting up. But to make sure to protect you, I'll get some of my loyal Anbu ready just in case this doesn't go well. You know I could easily just warp out of there if I needed to. Naruto sighed suddenly behind the Hokage. I never get used to that ability of yours. The Hokage sighed, somewhat glad he was used to ninja doing that, but at least he could sense them. Naruto just disappears and reappears with no signs. But, you never know. Excuse me, but I have work to do. The Hokage said before leaving the Uchiha household. So, you're going to the place your people settled? Sakura smiled, wanting to see more of Naruto's people. Yep, Naruto said while going into her room and came back with some books and some supplies, including plants and strange items. But while I am gone, you two are going to do your first syntheses. Shouldn't you stay to watch us? Sasuke asked in fear of doing something wrong. Don't worry, you're going to do 2 simple syntheses, a heal jar and nitro cloth. Both are beginner's alchemist recipes. I don't care if you mess up or whatever quality you get. This is to get used to the synthesizing process. Sakura, you can't have your mana help you with this. What do you mean by that? Sakura asked as Plush appeared, not fond of strangers, and sat on the back of Sakura's head. Turbofox recoiled in shock at see the ghost and was in a full-blown panic as the other dark and spirit-looking mana appeared. One reason alchemists and mana form a pact is that mana can help an alchemist with their synthesis. Though Flay are not usually helpful with the kind of synthesis you are doing, she could still help a little. However, you are learning to do by yourself first before working with mana, as Sasuke doesn't have a mana yet. You two also have another small project to do as well. Naruto sighed, putting the books and supplies on the table. I want to look through those alchemic books for weapons. Think of what weapons fits you best and write down what you want or even draw. That way I can watch you make those and then we can train in using them along with our ninja training. I see. Wait, what is your alchemic weapon, then? Sakura asked. I usually used Cheshire Cat to form a protect casing around my arms with claws that transform into what I need with a pair of bracelets and collars around my neck as the base. However, that is just the base weapons, as my other weapons take the form of what you humans call toys, as they are what my mana prefer me to use and work with them to use their powers in battle. Naruto sighed. You can actually have as many mana as you want, but mana don't usually like sharing alchemists. I'm lucky as I found the Alterworld Wonderland, as those types of worlds will have mana that will all form a pact with you or no pact at all without one of their friends, as it is an Alterworld where only mana live in. Though, as you can see, even they don't like to share me as they are very protective of me. I also had a magic weapon that was a part of my ship, but it's gone as my ship is totaled. I see. Both sweated before they all noticed Turbofox in the corner, shaking in horror. What are those things? Spark phantoms. Turbofox shouted as the mana got closer to her, interested in what the mini-con was. Oh, you can see them? Turbofox nodded like a jackhammer. Those are mana. Don't worry. Though some of those are ghost-type mana, they aren't really ghosts. It's just rare now people can see them on this planet. Though, I am quite shocked you can see them, as they are beings of my power source, mana. Then the blonde smirked. Turbofox, do you want to try what Sakura and Sasuke is doing? Sure. Turbofox sighed. Then, let's go into the workshop, so I can show you how to do synthesis before I leave. Naruto chimed, grabbing the supplies and leading the three to the workshop, which was covered in spots of orange, pink, purple, and other colors, as the three had conflict on picking a color and ended up having a paint war to find the aftermath made a doable walls for them, as it was artist for a workshop. Alright, this might also help with chakra control, as chakra is refined mana with another energy added to do it, so it will take some tries to dial in on how much you will need to use. Same for you, Turbofox, as you have energon. Now, instead of focusing the energy inside your body, you're focusing out of the body and into the object you're using for the synthesis. You will be using the flask for the heal jar and the pot for nitro cloth. You first crush. Naruto began her lesson on beginner alchemy with 2 humans and a mini-con as students. So, that is your plan? A council of robed figures asked as Naruto stood in the middle of a dark room with strange glowing markings of neon on the walls. Yes. Naruto sighed. If things come to worst possible situation, I'll run and come here with the mini-con. Alright, however, we have our own conditions we wish to ask for if it does work. The leading figure said with a stern tone. You haven't known how long I've been wanting to hear this. Naruto cheered, flinging her arms in the air. I mean, I'm a flipping old lady, but you all are worse than me when it comes to decisions. Yes, another member sighed. They all were kind of annoyed of the old model. Though, she was wise, the model was completely different than the others of her kind as her defected mind made it easier to relate to humans. But we will cut the deal if any of the requirements are not met. Yeah, I understand. Naruto rolled her eyes. It was kind of ironic that her people which needed to get a name to call themselves in her opinion were such scary cats. Now, I need to go. Wait, Naruto froze. This could not end well as the blonde thought and turned around. Since you representing us, we will prefer you to have you flex armor clothing on instead of the humans' inefficient clothing. That's all? Naruto blinked, expecting worst. Yeah, we have honor, too, and we are not going to let you ruin it, Alice0013. My name is Naruto. Naruto snorted. But, your model number is Alice0013. So what? I'm going. Naruto sighed as a orange and gray complex magic circle appeared above her and her body turned into particles and disappeared into the circle and the circle disappeared. Can we even depend on that detected bot? One council member asked the rest. Yes we can. A female voice came from a robed figure with a red orb on her robe to keep it in place. Alice0013 is very dependable. All of us princesses trust her and know she can do this. The council dismissed, hoping that the defected robot that got them to this planet didn't screw things up. Are you alright, Naruto? Sakura asked while Naruto was brushing her hair a bit more than usual. The blonde was wearing a strange orange top with the long sleeves sewn back on and the stomach cut short to show a black under armor underneath that went down her arms to end like knuckle-cut gloves as well as down past her hips like shorts with an orange cloth strapped around her waist and over the short part of the bodysuit. Orange and black stripped stocking with orange and black boots. The strange orange top was buttoned up with string ties with a black clover with card suits on each leaf on the back along with a hood that was large with a metal charm of the same insignia hanging there on the back and sewn like the sleeves. On Naruto's neck was a rough-looking collar of gray and orange with matching bracelets. Naruto's lines on her joints were visible and even on her clothing as the clothing were actually a part of the blonde's body. Why yeah, just a little, nervous as you humans call it. Naruto sighed. My people except a few are perfectionists in a sense. Plus, this is really risky. Naruto groaned. Just calm down, dope. Sasuke sighed. You'll do fine. What you suck at is ninja arts, not talking as it's clear you do that. Sasuke. Naruto threw a pillow at the raven that dodged it. Sasuke's right, Naruto. Just calm down and relax. Sakura just frowned at her teammates' antics. One thing that will probably never change is Sasuke and Naruto's rivalry. Thanks. Naruto smiled before noticing something. Hey, where's Turbofox? Right here. All three sweated as they saw all the Nicro cloth the mini-con made. What do I do with this? I think I made way too much. Just put it in a basket in the workshop. We'll use it later. But now we see Energon increases the amount that comes out of a synthesis. Naruto sheepishly laughed while the mini-con left to put up the stuff. Well, I better go. Remember your training cuz if I come back and you haven't done it, I will increase it. Naruto threatened before warping off, not wanting to be seen by the villagers. Sakura and Sasuke only sweated and got prepared to go out and train. They rather just deal with what they got than to skip and get double the load. Okay, I'm done. Turbofox chimed while walking back into the living room. However, she cocked her head as everyone was gone. Huh? Where'd everyone go? Turbofox sighed before seeing the TV and the remote. Remembering how the two humans and other alien robot used it, Turbofox picked up the remote and turned on the television and sat down. The television, as the device was known as to Turbofox, was a source of entertainment for humans, so she wanted to see why. However, her light eyes grew as she flipped through the channels to find it wasn't just for entertainment, but education as well. Since Naruto isn't here, this will have to do. Turbofox landed on an anime involving giant robots and began to watch. So, you're telling me that the container of the Kyuubi no Yoko is an alien? Danzo, the well-known war hawk of the council, growled in anger. That's even more stupid than what you gave us yesterday. It's true, Mr. Mummy. Naruto sighed, extending her 13 wires to form a seat for herself and causing all the council members, even the most stoic, eyes were as wide as plates. Before you complain as to why you were never informed is mainly thanks to the counsel of my people. They are way too much of scary cats to risk a lot, and you won't believe how long it has taken me to even convince them to possibly agree with finally contacting humans. Please don't do what the humans during the alchemic age did and nearly end the world without even knowing about my people. That caused another couple of centuries of headaches for me. So, you're older than the Kyuubi? Danzo smirked. Yes, and is also one of the reasons why I volunteered to have the Kyuubi sealed inside me. I'm part of the ship that brought my people to this planet, though colliding with another alien ship of cousin-like species as you humans may call it and crashing here. Only found out the other alien ship part yesterday when finding one of those aliens, which is why I am exposing the truth now instead of later. Naruto explained. How can you be a part of a ship? Inuzuka Sume asked, quite interested in this. Simple. I'm mechanical, not organic, even though my people's body structure and humans are very similar. Even to the point of having reproductive units organs. Naruto sighed. She remembered another reason why she stayed with humans instead of her kind. Not a robot wants an old, outdated model to product protoforms with when her people found out their creator left a backup for them if the production line was destroyed. I am a model Alice 0013, a fighter unit of my people. Though we don't fight a lot since our only war on the planet at the beginning against the creatures of dark deep space. So, I was mainly a resource retrieval and recycling unit after being labeled a defected model. A defected model? Hyuga Hiyashi asked while the civilian council and war hawks smirked. Simple, I'm more human-like in mind. The concept of freedom of will and choices in life didn't exactly hit my people till seeing humans while I saw it the moment I was put off the production line. It's just quirks some bots get like humans have birth defects or birth advantages. My people don't really put it down, except to rub it in, and live pretty fine with each other. Then, why didn't you stay with your people on your planet? Danzo asked. Didn't you pick up the part? Never mind. We no longer have a planet thanks to a computer virus turned into the horror films you call zombie flicks. Turned our planet into a monster of decaying metal with all the rest except the young I brought to this planet dead or mindless zombies. The other aliens were escaping slavery, so at least she has a home to go back. Are you kidding? Danzo scoffed. Trust me, I almost was scrap metal because of that virus, which was how they got an antivirus from. I got repaired by a portion of my creator's KORORO unit or soul in the middle of our planet as our creator used its own body to make it before it destroyed itself to prevent the virus from gaining its powers, and it created the antivirus in me. Naruto sighed. But, I'm not going into detail. I still have nightmares about it since I discovered one of the downsides of what you call sleep. Interesting. Nara Shikaku nodded. So, where are your people? In the shadow of this world in the form of an alterworld, or a world made of mana. This world is plentiful of it and only once nearly ran out thanks to humans. Naruto sighed. You have the alchemic age to blame for the Biju, as those demons were created out of the monster's mana became without the protection of the mana to keep them from being corrupted by bad emotions and then turned from fused up mana into chakra beasts. But, off of that, my people are willing to finally make an alliance of sorts with humans, mainly Konoha. Under some conditions though. Let's hear them. Sume grinned, wanting to see the faces of the corrupted council. Well, they will only official make the deal when the next Hokage comes into office, as I will serve as an observer. We will allow you to have our technology, but it cannot be used as weapons, and we will be introducing it slowly to humans to keep anything from jumping out of hand. My people are pretty peaceful compared to me and rather keep it that way, as there isn't any other Alice units probably left now. Also, they want to trade, as we are actually how alchemy came to be, as our mana breed with the mana here while we were still slumbering after the crash. Since this planet is full of resources, I kind of was put out of my job, and hence why I moved into Konoha. Naruto sheepishly grinned. This will also include alchemic weapons, as alterworlds aren't really safe and the only really reason my people arm themselves. The experiment is the main reason why my people are waiting to finalize the deal with the next Hokage, as I now have a place to do alchemy with as well as 3 students. As I found out, old mana from my planet can somewhat resort the human's ability to see mana with Sakura and Sasuke. The Minicon Turbofox, the other race of alien I discovered, also has alchemic potential, and I'm teaching her too, as she has nothing to do. She wasn't built for battle like me, though is completely robotic, so I don't know if she can become a ninja yet. Especially since her people escaped their planet because being enslaved during this endless war on her planet between much larger transformers. Can you teach other people this alchemy? Hiyashi asked, more for his daughters than the village. Not right now. I'm just doing my teammates as Cheshire Cat, my mana. Thought it would be entertaining to himself to give them the ability to see mana as a lot of ghost type and dark type mana like the Uchiha compound as it's on a mana spot, or as you call it. An all-you-can-eat buffet of pure mana to eat for mana, and my kind is mana is my main fuel. Naruto sighed. I don't want alchemy to be the cause of another culture downfall for humans, so it's best to start slow like with technology, which will happen only after the next Hokage comes into play and such. Plus, I'm still getting over how fast Sakura got a mana. Especially a flay, a ghost type, by just squeaking and calling it cute while hugging it. Does the Uchiha have a mana? A civilian council member asked. No, you just can't get a mana. Which is why I was shocked how fast Sakura got one. Right now, though, I am just working on the basics of alchemy with Sakura and Sasuke before going into the stuff that involves mana, so Sasuke has time to find one. Konoha is full of mana, so it attracts a lot of mana. It will just take some time. Depending on the attitude of the mana that is. Naruto sighed. But my people will refuse the deal if you try to disassemble Turbofox the Minicon and me to study or do something like turn us into weapons. Being a ninja is my choice as Konoha is my home and I will protect it with my own life. If Turbofox decides to become a ninja or not is also her decision as well. Plus, you wouldn't get a lot from an old bot like myself and a bot that isn't exactly designed for combat anyways. Also, I as well as Turbofox now will be the main experiment as I am dropping my human act and be myself. If the villagers get used to me, then they will have no problem with my people who evolved to look more human. You don't look human? Aburame Shibi asked with an raised eyebrow. I can transform my flex armor, which is my skin as you say, to look whatever I want. But this is my main form, though I altered it to not creep you humans out. I have two main forms. This one for everyday business and a battle form. I hope I will not have to use my battle form for anything except really needing to, as its slagging drains me. Naruto sighed. So, show us your real form. Danzo evilly smirked, wanting the demon container even more with this information. Flex armor? As I am not about to drop my flex armor. One thing my people and humans exactly have is privacy and self-coverage. As well as punishing perverts. Naruto growled, shooting a glare. Flex armor. All of the council made a mental note to make sure perverted members of the human population never try to peep onto aliens bathing. Fine. Naruto sighed as her ears dissolved into particles to be replaced by metal pieces pointing backwards and her eyes turned to glowing orange pupils with gray whites. The whisker marks on her face became more like thicker and round as they came off the surface. Naruto stood up and let her wires fall behind her. Yep, that is definitely creepy. Akamichi Shuza sighed while everyone just stared at Naruto. Yeah, plus my eyes glow because we didn't have a sun where my planet was and most light came off the moon's crystals and the planet's plant life and minerals. I didn't want my human comrades to be given away by my eyes. Most of the council nodded at this common sense. It also explained how Naruto stole the scroll, as it is clear the blonde was a naive robot. So, you don't mind me living here? The council nodded and talked with each other before the Hokage answered for them. I believe it will be fine. One condition though on your part. Danzo answered for the civilian side. What? Naruto asked, confused. You have to maintain your real form in Konoha. That's fine with me, but can I at least put back on the human form in a few days? My team wants to prank Kakashi-sensei for being late all the time, so we are going to make Kakashi think he walked into another dimension as we finally see eye to eye. But Kakashi doesn't have the memo. Naruto chuckled while the council sweated. They knew of Kakashi's tardy record for a long time and Naruto's mischief side was definitely real now. Also, I might use my human form for away missions and missions in Konoha that my form will impair the mission. Is that fine with you? Sure. The civilian council just glared at the alien. There went their chance to take the blonde into custody to make her into a weapon or study her, as the other robot was probably useless for battle. Then Danzo had an idea. Didn't you say your body is close enough to humans to have reproductive organs similar to humans? Yes. I ain't going there though. Let's just say the mating rituals, and most of it is the same except for the pregnancy in some places. Naruto sighed while every human sweated. But don't think of even arranging me to marry someone. My people do know what love is, though more of them eternal than the couple kind, but still we know what love is. I'm not about to mate with someone I don't love. Well, I think I know what love is with lovers. Naruto growled while Danzo smirked. Naruto, how old are you? Hiyashi asked, more confused as to why she still looked like a pre-teen or short teen. How old, indeed? Everyone paled as the blonde was trying to figure out how old she was. Let's just go with 80 billion years old, as I don't know. Just goes to show how outdated I am, as I am the 13 model Alice made, and when I left my planet, the numbers were up in the 5000s, and an Alice model isn't made every few years. And you call me old man? The Hokage sighed. Though, why do you as young as you do? My people stop upgrading appearance-wise at the appearance of 12 to 18 years in human terms. I was unlucky to be at 12. Naruto groaned. Makes my body freaky thanks to my rack if I don't strap them. Everyone sweated at the fact even an alien worries about their appearance, though Naruto's was more of dealing with a bad size rack for her size and age set than just wanting to look good. So, are we done here? Just one last question. Sume smiled. Why do you want to become Hokage? Because the other Hokages are my role models. They all fought hard to protect Konoha, which is also my home now. Which is also why I call the third old man, as it's kind of embarrassing to have a role model younger than you. Also, I thought becoming Hokage would help with my people finally contact humans. The council of my people is a lot worse than yours when it comes to this subject. Naruto sighed. But my dream is still become Hokage someday, so I hope being an alien doesn't ruin it. Thank you, Naruto. You may leave. The Hokage sighed before everyone was shocked. Naruto's appearance phased a bit before disappearing. I wished we also made it requirement she stop that warping when not needing to. It's just as annoying as the Shunshin no Jutsu. Warping? Shiki asked. Kind of like teleporting. Naruto says it's not that, and something to do with 2 points are not as far when you put things on more than 3 dimensions we humans do. Naruto told me the first thing her people would do was put a warping station in Konoha so that we could go visit the shadow world and her people if the deal works. Naruto's people also have some psychic abilities, though they don't exactly understand the term psychic. Naruto's abilities are gravity control within barriers, being able to move objects with her mind, and other simple stuff. Luckily, mind reading is one ability none of her people have, especially Naruto. Everyone nodded at that. They would have died from all the pranks Naruto pull if she had that ability. However, the civilian side of the council knew why Danzo asked about reproduction with Naruto. Instead of studying the alien, let the alien be, as it was already a warrior for the village. And breed with a human to form a new breed of warrior possible, and let nature take its course for power. Sure, they wouldn't be able to ever take this power and use it for their greedy ways, but it doesn't mean they can't try to have some influence on who the alien falls in love with and such, so they did have a little control over how the alien's outspring will go into as future jobs. The ninja clan heads noticed the evil smirked on the greedy part of the council and knew exactly what they were thinking. They were going to try to do with clans with powers they like with Naruto and establish Naruto's people like a clan to maybe pick off a few of their mainly Naruto's offspring in later years when least expecting. All the ninja clans respected the blonde for the fourth's wishes to see the blonde as a hero. Now they respect the alien even more at the fact she let herself be used for the sealing of the Kyuubi as an act to protect Konoha. Unknown to many, the secret council wars have began. Now, I believe we have to discuss about the shop's behavior towards Naruto, as they have been treating the blonde very poorly. The Hokage began, not noticing the tension in the council. Well, it's good to see you two have been training. Naruto sighed while looking at Sakura and Sasuke lying on the couch, trying to recover a little from training. Oh, shut up, whoa. Upgrade? Sakura asked, shocked at Naruto's appearance. Nah, this is what I really look like without some little altercations. Naruto sighed. I have to maintain my real form except for when I need to show human form, like for our prank on Kakashi and on missions out of Konoha. Naruto sighed, having her wires braided up to look like a shiny braided ponytail of metal. So, aren't you going to train? Sasuke smirked, wanting some time to rest. I am. I noticed when I use my Kage Bushin no Jutsu, I get the memories back of my clones when they disappear. So I had several clones go to the training ground to train as an experiment. I'm going to take Turbofox and you to gather materials in Konoha's woods to give you a little more time on deciding on what you want to make your weapons. Is it alright to let Turbofox out in public? Sasuke asked, noticing the Minicon glaring at him. I have some covering clothes we'll use for today, but she will most likely have to also walk around like me without hiding once everything settles. Naruto smiled at the Minicon, who instantly got up when hearing she was going out. Where? I had been coped up in that storage panel for way too long. Turbofox chimed or beeped to Sakura and Sasuke happily. We are going into the woods while stopping by a cave. I think there is energy on it so we can secure your fuel supply. Naruto said while the Mini-Con hugged her in joy of getting to explore this new world to the mini-transformer. So, let's go and grab some lunch first. Naruto sheepishly grinned while her stomach growled. You know, you should really challenge the Akamichi clan to an eating contest. Sakura sighed with a laugh. The group of 4 quickly left, being rushed by Turbofox the Curious, and headed for the woods. Now, this is Spinacher B. Naruto picked up a plant that was a cross of spinach and a clover. It's a plant with lots of nutrients and is very common. You used it to make the heal jars yesterday. You can use Spinacher B for a good amount of synthesis, but you can other ingredients to get better quality items or get a specific trait. Like with cooking with alchemy, you can change tastes from bitter to sweet. I see. And we can use these alchemic traits in weapons, too? Sakura asked, picking some mushrooms. Yes. In fact, you can use the trait system to put magic spells into your weapons so you can shortcut the chanting and use the spell whenever you like as long as you have the energy. However, I need to teach you the basics of magic before we do that. Naruto explained before noticing what Turbofox was picking. Be careful with that poison shroom, Turbofox. The poisons in them aren't deadly, but can make humans pretty sick if you are not careful with them. Why yes, ma'am, Turbofox said with worry. She didn't want to get any organic life as she was amazed by the sheer beauty of life on this planet, including the wildlife. Everything nature was so graceful. There was very little wildlife on Cybertron, let alone any trees and plants. Naruto, is it alright to use poisonous items in alchemy? Sasuke asked with a little worried. Yes, it makes the trait, poison, to make it so your weapon poisons your enemies depending on your mixture of poison. Naruto explained. Poison scroom is mainly a paralyzing poison. I ate one on my planet by mistake and wasn't able to move for almost a day. My tongue stayed numb for 3 days though. Naruto chuckled. Wait, you mean the plants from your planet is here? Sakura asked. Some, yes, but many of the plants adapted to this world and changed to new ones. For example, the Spinacher bee of my world was jet black. Naruto explained. My planet did have a sun, so many of the planets were darker or produced their own light which fueled other plants. The poison scroom is one plant that didn't change as it gets its powers and poison during the nighttime. At least you do know something. Naruto glared at Sasuke. But you really are a dope if you ate a poisonous mushroom before. Teme. Sasuke and Naruto began to pull each other's hair and fight. Do they always fight? Turbofox asked. If I am right by what you said. Yeah, they fight like this all the time. I think is their way of showing their friendship. Sakura groaned at her teammates' antics. She wondered if this was something the alien and human like to do. Like a secret handshake or something like that friends do, but creepier. Well, this is a shame. All 4 blinked as a unicorn-looking creature appeared from a black light. It had a white mane, black crystals on its body especially as a horn and orb-like hooves, and had a dark gray body. Wow, a unicorn, Sakura gasped. You're a dark-type mana. Naruto pointed out. Ah, you know of mana, though the dark-hair alchemist sure is a sour puss. The child also looks weak. The mana snorted. What? Sasuke growled at the mana. I'm not weak. I came out of the academy as Rookie of the Year. Really? You don't look like you can even defeat a Puni. The unicorn taunted the raven. Puni? Turbofox looked at her elder robot. A Puni is one of the weakest monsters a person can face, though they can be powerful in large numbers. They are like a rogue glop of goo that is very cute looking. Except they headbutt you to death you if not careful. Naruto explained, only for Sasuke's anger to increase. Oh, yeah, Gukaku no Jutsu. Sasuke shot a large fireball at the unicorn for it to teleport out of the way of the flames. Not bad, but I still see you as weak. The unicorn snorted behind the group. Ah, you will take that back. Sasuke shouted, charging forward. Oh, boy. Naruto sighed while human, alien robot, and Mini-Con watched Sasuke try to attack the unicorn, but the unicorn kept teleporting out of the way of Sasuke's attacks. I thought Plua, or Dark Mana, were calm and quiet. Not like this unicorn-looking one at all. I guess Sasuke found another object she hates. Sakura and Naruto sweated as Sasuke started using shuriken. At least I think this counts for training. I thought darkness was evil. Turbofox thought while watching the human trying to kill the mana. Turbofox always believed darkness was evil like the Decepticons, but on this planet, darkness wasn't evil in the root word, as the unicorn mana was indeed cruel in nature. It confused the Mini-Con, but caused the Mini-Cons thought to focus on her Mini-Con brothers and sisters. I wonder where the others are at. Hopefully, not in the Decepticons' greedy hands. Die. Turbofox only stared while Sakura and Naruto smacked their foreheads as Sasuke was doing everything to try and kill the mana, who dodged everything skillfully. Still weak. No wonder you attacked that blonde. The unicorn snorted, actually enjoying tormenting the raven, who charged again. Should we stop Sasuke? Sakura asked, getting worried. Nah, sometimes this is done. Naruto chuckled while Sakura and Turbofox looked at her as if she was crazy. But then again, she is an alien robot from a strange planet, so she would look crazy at times. Autobot Base, Earth. An emergency vehicle transformer known as Red Alert was studying a large slag of melted metal as 3 humans came up to him along with 3 Mini-Cons. Hey, Red Alert, what Cha doing? The tanned Carlos Lopez shouted, getting the bot's attention. Oh, hello. Red Alert sighed as the humans Rad White and the female Alexis saw what Red Alert was working on. Are you repairing more of the ship? Alexis asked. No, I am studying this metal I found while fixing the ship. Red Alert explained. I found it is not made of any Cybertronian metals. Maybe it's metal from the Earth's surface when landing. Rad suggested. The ship was going pretty fast, so some iron and such could have metal into the hull. I double-checked with the Earth metals as well, and this metal isn't from Earth either. The Transformer sighed. The only logical thing I could think of is the ship hit a meteor before crashing into Earth. You are still studying that stupid metal? The sports car transformer named Hotshot came up. The larger truck transformer and leader of the Autobots known as Optimus Prime walked up to their fellow comrade. Yes, because it might mean the Mini-Cons are not just on Earth. Red Alert sighed. You mean, the Mini-Cons could be on another planet? Carlos shouted. That's so cool. Not exactly, Carlos. It will be too dangerous for us to take you to an unknown planet, especially without any air for you guys to breathe. Hotshot sighed with a chuckle, remembering the fact humans needed an oxygen-filled atmosphere to survive. Ah, man, Carlos pouted. Don't worry, Carlos. Most of the Mini-Cons are probably here on Earth anyways. Alexis sighed. True, though, they can be anywhere. Red Alert sighed before noticing something in the metal. He used the laser to cut the metal away to expose some sort of black egg with a circle diagram in gray with triangles and such on the front of it. What the heck is that? Hotshot asked as Red Alert showed the object that looked more like crystal. I don't know. Red Alert did a scan on the object. But it has something inside it. Oh, it's an egg. Rad shouted as the 3 humans saw the object. What's an egg? Optimus Prime asked, wondering how the humans knew what the object was as Red Alert knelt down and showed the small object to the humans. Yep, thanks, an egg alright. Alexis picked the egg up. Some species here on Earth are born inside an egg which protects the still developing creature till it's ready to hatch out. Humans kind of have eggs, too, but keep them inside the female. Huh? How can a human have that in their body? Hotspot asked. Oh, boy. Alexis, now what have you done? Carlos sighed. We'll explain that later when I have my computer. At least we know that new Transformers are not made the same way new humans are made. Alexis sighed. But why is an egg inside alien metal? The egg began to shake. Whoa, it's alive. Rad shouted as the egg crated to expose orange lines and let out steam. Then a pop sound came out with a fuzzy leg. What the slag is that? Hotspot shouted while noticing the fuzzy thing move and a head popped out. Mew. A cat-rabbit-looking creature yawned while sniffing the air. It was gold fur with black paws and inner ears. A gray, metallic crystal was in its forehead like the 3 round lines of metal in each cheek with its whiskers. Its ears were large like a rabbit, but cat-like as its body was rabbit mixed with cat with a black bushy tail. Ah, so cute. Alexis took the creature completely out of the egg and held it. But, what is it? Carlos asked as the creature finally opened its eyes to expose large, glowing orange eyes with slight gray whites. Meow? The creature looked at Alexis before jumping out of her arms and onto her shoulder. Meow, meow. The creature playfully jumped on Alexis's shoulders and head. A playful little fellow, isn't he? Rad chuckled while petting the creature's head and it mewed happily. But, I better study it to make sure it's safe. The creature looked up to panic at seeing Red Alert and the Autobots. Hiss. The creature jumped off of Alexis's head and went straight to the wall and hid before falling back. Ow. Autobot and human alike gasped as the creature clawed through the metal and ate it to form a hole which it went through. Now, I believe that's what you call a mouse hole for robot bases. Carlos sighed. That wasn't a rat. It looked more like a cat. Alexis corrected. Nah, it was a rabbit. That can eat metal. Carlos sighed. A cabbit? Rad smirked sheepishly. Whatever it is, we need to find it. I don't want it eating any more of the ship. Red Alert sighed. I agree with Red Alert. But, how can we catch something that small? Optimus Prime sighed. This was something a Transformer would never expect to happen any solar cycle. Don't ask us. I don't think the usual animal traps won't work on that dude. Carlos sighed. He'd probably eat out of them. Great. It's like trying to catch a turbofox with no speed. Hotshot groaned. A turbofox? Rad asked. It's one of the wildlife as you humans would call it on our planet. I believe I seen an Earth version of it covered in hair when we were in a forest. Oh, it's like a metal fox. Alexis chimed. Yeah, and speedy little suckers, too. Hotshot sighed. But, how are we going to catch it? I'll let you figure that out, Hotshot. I got to get back to repairing the base. Red Alert sighed, patting Hotshot's shoulder before leaving. What? Wait, good luck, Hotshot. Optimus Prime left as well. Come on. This can't be slagging happening. Hotshot sighed. Don't worry, Hotshot. We'll help you out. Carlos chimed. Yeah, thanks. Got any ideas? Hotshot asked. Well, just use bait. Some scrap metal might work. Alexis suggested. Yeah, that might work. Hotshot grinned. Unknowingly, beginning his battles with what would be the creature's name Slag as he would dub it through many fruitless attempts to catch it. Hitaki Kakashi was a somewhat happy Jonin. He had finished a somewhat easy solo mission and it was at a nice hotel, too. More of a vacation he needed, which was true as Team 7's teamwork had gone downhill quite quickly since the Waves mission, which was the only mission Sasuke and Naruto even showed teamwork. Now, Naruto was annoying his teammates and at least trying to get his teammates while Sakura always scolded the blonde and praised Sasuke as Sasuke ignored his teammates. But Kakashi didn't know how to fix this problem as he wasn't much of a team person. But if I don't fix this problem, then I might not be able to put them in the Chunin exam. Kakashi pondered what to do. Maybe he could trick the teammates into see the worth of their fellows? Yeah, that will work. He'll throw the 3 for a loop and that should knock some sense into the 3. Okay, more for the Uchiha and his fangirl is, even though Naruto was overdoing it on missions, he was trying to get teamwork to happen. He even decided to be only a little late today. Kakashi appeared before his students, but instantly saw something was not right. Naruto was dressed very oddly, though in his color of orange with a hood over his head and reading a book while Sakura and Sasuke was also reading a book, but with Sakura explaining something to Sasuke who was actually listening to the pink-haired girl. Kakashi looked up in the sky, expecting it to rain food. Did he end up in another dimension? Wait, what if the hooded figure wasn't Naruto? Good morning? All 3 looked at him and Kakashi sweated as the hooded figure was indeed Naruto with his summer blue eyes, but his whisker marks had changed. Wow, you're not late for once. Sakura snorted, putting the book away, but Sasuke and she sweated as Naruto just went back to reading. Well, I have several missions for you 3. Kakashi smiled before blinking as there was no complaining or groaning. Okay, this is really odd. Kakashi sighed as he led his team to their missions. Hyuga Neji stood before his uncle, the clan head, with confusion. He was just a branch member of the Hyuga clan, destined to be just servants of the main family which his father died in vain for and which he blamed the main family for his father's death. Why as to Hyuga Hiyashi would called for him, he did not know. Neji, I need you to do something for me. Hiyashi sighed. In exchange, I will make the cage bird seal on your forehead inactive. What? Neji gasped. I think you are ready to know the truth. Hiyashi sighed, placing a scroll in front of Neji, who picked the scroll up and read it. Hiyashi wanted to tell the truth that his brother Hisashi died by choice, but the council and his own guilt kept him from telling Neji the truth. Is this real? Neji asked, expecting the scroll to be fake. But it was in his father's handwriting. Yes. I am sorry that I haven't given it to you sooner, but I was afraid you might not accept in the past. Hiyashi sighed. I want you to protect my two daughters from both councils. What? Neji asked in confusion. I do not wish either of my daughters to get into the conflicts I am currently with the Hyuga and Konoha Council involving the second part of what I wish you to do. Hiyashi looked out the window. It involves Uzumaki Naruto. Wasn't that the name of one of Hinata's classmates? Neji asked, actually remembering the failing blonde from his class as well. The blonde was oddly put in the higher grade classes and forced to taking the genin exams way too early. Yes, the Hyuga Council is for what the civilian side of the council is trying to do to Naruto, and I rather the blonde not be forced into this. Into what? Neji asked, wondering why the council would want the blonde. Marriage. Neji blushed, again, wondering why the council would want the blonde to do that. Naruto isn't human and has been living in Konoha pretending to be one till lately, as she had been forced to expose her secret. She is an alien. Alien? As an extraterritorial? Neji asked, thinking Hiyashi was drunk on something. Yes. Naruto's people crash on this planet a long time ago and hide in the shadow of our world while Naruto tried convincing them to interact with humans and going as far as pretending to be a human here in Konoha. She finally got them to agree, under some conditions which make it so some of the corrupted members of the council can't use the blonde alien as a weapon or the other alien species they found, which kind of caused Naruto's people to crash her by accident. However, the council does know it is possible to breed humans with Naruto's kind even when they are not organic, and wishes to use that to get their ways, as Naruto is one of the few warriors of her people left. Hiyashi explained while Neji reflected on what his uncle has said. So, the blonde was an alien trying to learn of human culture and convince her people to trust humans. Neji was shocked at how much free will to have taken to do that. Maybe I can also have the same will now. However, all you have to help Naruto with is to keep the fanboys off her. The council is probably going to have a good amount of family members to try and woo her. Hiyashi sighed as Neji sweated. This made him wonder if a good portion of the Uchiha's fan club were actually at first told by their family to try to woo the Uchiha. I agree with this. Neji sighed. However, if you were to battle my daughter like possibly the Chunin exams, do not go easy on her. Actually, I would like you to train her some if possible. Hanabi appears to be a better heir than Hinata, but that's because Hinata is caring and I was forced to crush her self-esteem. Alright, I see. Neji sighed. Hinata hardly had a spine and was very shy. But, at least she was a tolerable main family member he now didn't hate. I will do my best. Now, come here, so I can do my part of the deal. Hiyashi waved Neji to him and began to work on the seal. Kakashi looked at his team with shock and confusion after all the missions were done with. Someone must have done some kind of mind-altering jutsu on his students, as they had almost Sasuke and Naruto still somewhat rivals complete prefect teamwork. Sakura was now more focused on training than on Sasuke. Sasuke was more open, though seething about something other than revenge on his brother, as Kakashi heard the raven muttering about a unicorn from the underworld. Whatever that means. And then, the major change, including Creepy and Naruto. Sure, Kakashi was glad Naruto added a lot more black to his outfit. However, the blonde had become more dark and quiet, somehow keeping his normal humor. But it was like Naruto became more Sasuke-like while Sasuke became just a little more Naruto. Naruto, stop reading that book. Kakashi raised an eyebrow as Sakura shouted at Naruto. Finally, something normal for this ninja team. Huh? Why? Naruto asked, the dark demeanor gone and replaced with confusion. Ever since you began reading that book, you haven't put it down much and you kind of get dark and scary when reading all the time. Especially staying quiet. Sakura sighed while Sasuke nodded. Oh, sorry. It's just that's how I kind of get when getting into something I am serious about. This book has wonderful incantations. Naruto hummed while sticking his tongue out. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. He made a mental note that the few books Naruto he reads like an Uchiha with a jutsu scroll demanding, quiet, and dark. You mean curses? Sasuke snorted, causing Naruto to glare at him. Nani? Curses? Kakashi thought before Naruto pounced on Sasuke and they began fighting. Come on, you two, stop it. Sakura yanked the two teammates away from each other and both snorted, looking away from each other. Kakashi sighed in relief. At least some things were normal. Hey, Kakashi-sensei, I almost forgot. Kakashi blinked as Naruto ran up to him. Sakura and I moved, so you need to know where to find us. Kakashi blinked in confusion. Did Sakura? No, she was. We're staying at Sasuke's place since I got evicted from my apartment and Sakura and her parents aren't seeing eye to eye right now. Naruto grinned while Kakashi's eyes widened. Sasuke was letting his most annoying teammate and fangirl stay at his place. Naruto couldn't take it anymore and began rolling on the ground in laughter. I just got peened by my own students. Kakashi glared at his students as Sasuke was snickering and Sakura was also laughing. Ha ha, that wasn't funny at all. Kakashi sighed. There went the teamwork side of what has happened. Yes, it was. Naruto managed to stop laughing. But, really, Sakura and I are staying at Sasuke's place. Really? Kakashi wondered what the three were eating to do that without killing each other. However, Kakashi recoiled as Naruto took off his hood to expose metal pieces replacing the blonde's ears and 13 wires hanging down from the back of his neck. He also watched as Naruto's eyes turned from normal blue to glowing orange. What the? Don't worry. It took us 2 days to get used to Naruto's real appearance. Sakura sighed. Real appearance? Kakashi asked with a raised eyebrow. You'll probably get the memo about it later. Naruto snickered. So, are we dismissed or not? Yeah, dismissed. Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke. He needed to talk to the Hokage about this. Well, that was fun. Naruto chimed while her teammates looked at her, noticing she was eating something. One of her old shuriken. Naruto, don't eat that. Sakura shouted in anger. Huh? Why? Naruto asked, confused before remembering the human diet. Oh, I'm alright eating metal. It's like how you humans eat stuff with certain minerals and such to repair your bodies. Though, I don't know why I have this sudden craving to eat metal since I only get this kind of craving when my ship had damage that couldn't be repaired by hand and it healed that way. Since my ship is totaled, I don't know why I am getting the craving now. Well, let us buy you some metal from a blacksmith. Because those old shuriken and kunai of yours are not even worth eating. Sasuke sighed. But, do you know where Turbofox is? I think she is at the compound. Why do you ask? Naruto asked for Sasuke to point out Turbofox looking around the market with a bag. Turbofox, what are you doing here? Hey, Naruto. Turbofox chimed as the three genin walked up. I thought people couldn't understand you, so he decided to only come out with me? Naruto sighed before Sakura and Sasuke sweated as the bot pulled out a small dry eraser board from its alchemic weapon. A bag made for battle and stores a lot of stuff in it. Tilda, you can understand me now that I know how to write, Tilda. Oh, I see. You picked up the written language thanks to all the studying. Okay, now that we don't have to worry about communication, you can go out when you like. Naruto chimed with a smile while the mini-con did a thumbs up. I'm glad you can go around with no problems. But, why are you in the market? Naruto asked, looking around. There are so many interesting items here and I am curious of it all. This planet is amazing. Turbofox chimed, her light eyes doing the happy closed eyes. Naruto. Sakura sighed, just hearing beeps. She is looking around and such. Alright, just don't spend too much Ryu if you do some shopping. Naruto sighed. She finally got over her phobia of shopping but didn't like it that much. Luckily, for her that is, the Hokage got the shops to treat her even though they don't want to her normally and such. Tilda okay. Plus, I was buying just stuff to decorate the room you gave me. Tilda Turbofox wrote out so that Sakura and Sasuke know what her answer was. Okay, well, let's have a break day since we have been training hard. Naruto chimed. Really? Sakura and Sasuke said with shock. Yeah, 1 or 2 days training are fine. Actually, during free time, you can treat yourself to a nice treat as a mini reward. It makes it easier to stay on track by doing it. Naruto explained. You can do whatever you want. Do some little training on your own or try an alchemic recipe you want or even just relax. I see. Sasuke smirked, knowing what she was going to do. However, Sakura and Sasuke both took interest as they saw several of their classmates from back in the academy walking up to their blonde-haired teammate. No, don't go out with that loser. Go out with me. Another boy shouted while Naruto looked at the boys in confusion as they all were asking her out. What's going on? Naruto asked her teammates who sweated. They're asking you out on a date. Sakura sighed, remembering how she used to do that to Sasuke when she still thought she was a he. Now, it was just an embarrassment to her as she found out how weak she used to be. At least now she figured out how to use chakra to strengthen her punches, though still working on it. Maybe I can get a sensei that can help, as Kakashi only taught us to tree walk. So, they want to be my friends? Both preteens sweated at the alien. They thought they already went over this with the blonde alien. No, they want to be your girlfriend, which is more than a friend. Sasuke explained to the confused aliens as Turbofox was just as confused. Oh, then, sorry. I do not wish to go out with you. Naruto sighed, rejecting all the boys. Why not? One teen asked. Well, I'm not interested in being someone's girlfriend right now. Naruto sighed, before getting surrounded by the boys. Come on, baby. Don't be so cold. No, go out with me. No. Sakura, Sasuke, please help me out. Naruto panicked as the guys were getting a little too close for comfort. Leave Naruto alone, Sakura growled while Sasuke glared at the teenagers. Why? All we want is to Naruto's boyfriend. The teenage boys blinked when they happened to look at each other. Naruto as well as her mini-con friend was grabbed by her two teammates and they were dragged off by said teammates. Get them. Wait, so, we were right about Naruto and the villagers' treatment, but he is a she-alien? Kiba groaned, trying to take in what Nara Shikamaru was telling him. Sure. Rumors have been going around as well as the leak of the fact that Kyuubi was sealed inside the blonde thanks to one shop owner getting arrested for treating Naruto badly after getting the warning, along with a few other shop owners on the strict hit with what they were doing. However, there was no way Naruto, the dead last of the academy, was an alien. Let alone a girl, though he looked girly. That cannot be possible. If that is true, then Sasuke's a girl. I couldn't believe, too, till I saw what Naruto really looks like while she was showing around a robot around Konoha. Ino sighed. A robot? PFFH. Kiba laughed. There is no way a robot is here in Konoha. Kiba sighed before his eyes widened as seeing Sakura and Sasuke run up, dragging a different-looking Naruto, clearly alien, along with a robot. How? The Inuzuka suffered from brain shutdown as Team 7 hid behind some trash cans. Hey, both Team 8 and 10 saw the mob of boys run up. Have you seen Naruto? Went that way. Shino pointed towards a wrong direction and the boys ran that way. After a few minutes, the Team Plus robot came out of hiding. Naruto, you just had to get a fan club. Sakura sighed. How? Naruto sighed before realizing how. Stupid council. Okay, I take back what I thought about Konoha's council. They're worse than my people's council. Naruto. Hinata gasped at seeing the wires out of the back out the blonde's neck. Naruto shivered as Hinata touched the end of one of the wires. Don't do that. Sorry. Hinata squeaked in fright at Naruto's outburst. No, I'm sorry. Naruto sighed. It's just creepy when someone touches my wires at the ends. Probably because they are for gathering information and such and have sensitive connections on the end. Okay, this has to be a prank. Kiba laughed nervously. Naruto, drop the illusion. No, I don't have an illusion on. This is what I really look like. Naruto sighed, a little sad of her tail was gone at the mention of illusions. She missed the crystal tied on Fuzzball tail that was her magic weapon, main computer to help with her ship. Oh. Kiba hit the ground, out cold with foam coming out of his mouth. I was expecting that from you, Hinata. Shino sighed as the nervous Hyuga nodded, amazed she hadn't fainted herself as Naruto went from her crush to role model when she found out Naruto was a girl. Thanks for getting that mob off Naruto's butt. Sasuke sighed. But now we have to watch out for Naruto's and my fan club. Sucks for you, Uchiha. Shikamaru sighed, glad he didn't have to deal with troublesome fangirls. So, you are really an alien, Naruto? An alien robot to be exact. One that is so close to humans, I'm basically a metallic cousin. Naruto sighed when Turbofox beeped madly, so fast not even Naruto didn't catch all what the robot said. However, she caught what the minicon. Oh, sorry. This is Turbofox. She's from a different planet than mine, but we believe her kind and mine are possibly cousins in a sense. So, she is staying with me since I am the only one who can understand her. So, Naruto, you're a girl, Ino chimed while grabbing Naruto's arm. Yeah, Naruto sighed. So, you want to hang out, friend? Ino squeaked. And I am another step closer to being with Sasuke. Get your hands off of Naruto, Ino pig. Sakura yelled at the blonde. Why, forehead girl? Ino stuck her tongue out at the pink-hair preteen. I bet Naruto would rather have me as a friend than you. Take that back, pig. Ino and Sakura began pulling on the blonde. Ow, not the wires. Naruto cried while the other Genin plus alien robot known as Minicon sweated or beeped in worry for Turbofox as she didn't have sweat glands. Well, you got a lot of new problems, Sasuke. Shikamaru sighed while Sasuke only groaned. But you fixed the team problems, right? Yeah, we fixed it together. Sasuke sighed. Though, now I have Sakura and Naruto crashing at my place. How? Akamichi Choji asked. Naruto was evicted from his apartment several days before we tried fixing the problems and Sakura and her parents don't see eye to eye about Naruto. Sasuke sighed while the preteens and teens nodded. Adults can be so stupid sometimes. True, maybe that's why none of Naruto's kind never age past 12 to 18 in appearance-wise. Even being the oldest of her kind, Naruto sometimes see things better than most adults younger than her. Sasuke sighed. How old is Naruto? Shino asked, a bit interested. She can't exactly remember and just told the council 80 billion years old. Sasuke sighed. You're joking, right? Choji asked. No. Naruto landed on this planet way before humans were on it around thousands, possible millions of years ago. So, being that old isn't so far off now that I think about it since she is a very old model of her people. The newest models, she says, look more human and such as they evolved to our world, not hers. Sasuke sweated as Naruto ran with Ino and Sakura after her along with Turbofox, who was trying to stop the violence. But, it does make me wonder what Naruto's planet was like. I remember she said it didn't have a sun. Yeah, but Naruto sure has a lot of problems, either being human, demon, or alien. Shikamaru sighed. Hey, where is the ship Naruto's people came on, then? Shino asked. Don't know. But, Naruto said the ship was totaled. We'll probably never see it. Excuse me, but I have some training to do. Sasuke sighed while walking away, leaving the three genin to deal with the still unconscious Kiba. Cold water? Shikamaru suggested while Choji and Shino smirked. Decepticon base, moon orbiting Earth. Starscream, what are you doing? A tank-like transformer known as Demolisher asked the jet transformer Starscream, who was looking at the damaged Minicon ship half the Decepticons made their base in. Nothing. Starscream grimaced at the melted metal on the hull. He knew this metal wasn't any Cybertron metals or Earth metals. But, why would this metal be here? Starscream? Demolisher waved his hand in front of the jet transformer's face to soon find himself on the floor on his back. Ha ha, we got a fight on our hands. A helicopter transformer laughed. Shut up, Cyclonus. Starscream growled. Leave me alone. So, what are you all doing? The larger tank transformers that was the Decepticon leader called Megatron growled while walking up to his subordinates. There are many Minicons we need to get before the Autobots get their hands on them. Yet, here, you all are, messing around. I should have you all metaled down into scrap metal. Megatron snorted. We were doing repairs, but Starscream. I don't want to have your pitiful excuses, Demolisher. Megatron shouted before turning to Starscream. Starscream, you have any excuses for slacking off? Something hit the Minicon ship before it hit this moon. Starscream sighed while all three other Decepticons looked at him. This metal melted on the hull isn't either Cybertronian or Earth metal. Starscream pointed at the melted metal. What do you mean, Starscream? Cyclonus asked before reaching to touch the metal. The unknown metal began to move and leapt off the hull. Holy Primus. What the slag? Moving metal. More metal came off and collected together. to form a gold fur creature that was very adorable with a metal-looking crystal on its face and orange glowing eyes. But a small black shining line of something was in its back. What, in the name of Primus, is that? Megatron growled as the creature cocked its head at them. Ah, it's kind of cute, Cyclonus cooed while leaning down and pointing at the creature. Hey, little fellow, what? Cyclonus stopped right when the creature sniffed his finger and took a bite out of it. It eats metal. Please, don't eat me. Cyclonus sheepishly laughed while the creature shivered and hacked up the metal that was from Cyclonus's finger. Meow. The creature hissed before it got encased in a ball of purple sparking energy. Hiss. The creature hissed at Megatron, who frowned. What is this creature? Megatron asked. Don't know. I never had seen anything like this. Demolisher sighed while Cyclonus cried from the pain from his finger. Suddenly, the creature warped out of the sphere and back on the ground. It can warp. The creature then saw Starscream and ran to him and jumped and, somehow, phased through the cockpit windshield on his chest. Get it out! Starscream shouted in a panic, like any Transformer Autobot or Decepticon would do when some metal-eating creature jumps into his or her body. Hold still. Huh? Megatron blinked as the cockpit on Starscream glowed and disappeared. That can't be good. What do you mean by that? Starscream shouted before his body glowed and he gripped his head in pain. Shot. Where did that ship come from? Everyone prepare for Impa AIIE. Starscream had flashes of images of the Minicon ship Exodus hitting a large shadow of what appeared to be a ship, Minicon panels falling towards an Earth-looking planet with the other ship, and the images of a strange human being electrocuted by the wire connected to them before his processor overloaded and he went offline. Starscream? Starscream groaned as his processor felt like metal slag. Can that even be Starscream? Starscream recognized the voice, though it sounded louder and making his head ache even more. Shut it, Cyclonus. Starscream sat up, rubbing his face, failing to notice some major changes. Anyone had seen the ship that hit me? Starscream asked, his head feeling like it literally was hit by an Autobot fighter ship, which once he almost found out how much it hurts to get hit by one. Starscream's vision sensors came back online and he noticed everything looked a lot bigger. Starscream, is that you? Starscream looked towards Megatron's voice as he never heard such confused shock from the Decepticon leader, only to find himself having to look up to see Demolisher, Cyclonus, and Megatron have become much bigger. Slag, what happened to you? Starscream asked. You're huge. Starscream, we are normal size. You, shrank. Demolisher tried to explain while Starscream raised an eyebrow. Wait, eyebrow? Starscream looked at a part of the metal hull that was somewhat reflective. His expression was of utter shock and horror as he saw what his new form was. He looked almost like a human. He was around the age of the humans, though maybe a little older, with long, spiky red hair, as his new skin was pale with a red coat which had the Decepticon logo on the back without sleeves to expose white bodysuit of sorts with matching red and white pants with black markings and boots. There was joint lines on the elbows and knees as he noticed metal on the back of his neck, while his eyes, even though had whites like a human, his glowing orange eyes showed he was not a fleshy like the metal lines going down from his eyes and chin. Orange glass-like substance was on the sides of his head like horns near his eyes. Starscream reacted like any Decepticon would have after losing many notches in her or her height. What the slag happened to my body? Starscream shouted, only for all the still normal Decepticons to cover their ears from the sheer loudness of the scream. Yesh, they could have probably heard that back to Cybertron. Cyclonus growled, but this is funny. Starscream turned into one of those squishies on that planet below. A vein popped up on Starscream's forehead. Now, he is useless in battle. Ah, shut up. Starscream yelled for a slight flash of orange energy to appear around Cyclus's legs before the leg moved violently and caused the helicopter robot to hit the floor. How did that happen? I have no idea. But, Cyclonus is right, you are not fit to battle in that form. But, not useless. Megatron smirked. However, it's best stay at the base till we figure out exactly what happened. No need for you to go offline because getting squished by either Autobots or us. Starscream gritted his teeth in fury. I can still fight. I'm a flying fighter and not matter what, I will fight. I don't care if I have to beg or say, please. Battle, vehicle form. Stand by. Ready. Set up. Starscream recoiled as the white, red, and black crystal with an orange sphere in the middle of it in the form of some kind of metal jet wing insignia on the headband on her forehead which was keeping his long bangs out of his eyes glowed. What the slag? A large orange circle of light with strange diagrams in the forms of lines and circles appeared underneath him. The circle went up and in a flash Starscream was back to his original form with one little change. His left hand had an orange orb with strange markings on the back of it. That is creepy. Cyclonus sighed as Starscream was just glad to have his body back. But Starscream actually say he would beg. Shut it, Cyclonus, or I'll cut you till electricity comes. Spell stand by Lightning Lancer. Full auto fire. A yellow, but much smaller diagram circle appeared before Starscream and then went to launching bolts of lightning to Cyclonus and knocking Laughing Helicopter through the hall. All the Decepticons looked at the hole where Cyclonus's foot was twitching at in view. Starscream, try to do that again. Megatron smirked at the new upgrade his subordinate has gotten, liking it. Couple of hours later, I'm on empty. Starscream lay across one of the scanner, back in the humanoid form. The Decepticons found Starscream didn't exactly know how to get his new upgrades to work and he could only stay in Transformer form for a limited amount time, though vehicle mode helps it stay longer. At least they now knew what the humanoid form was for. It was a recharging form of sorts. Until we figure out how to get those upgrades to work, avoid saying certain words. Megatron sighed, getting repairs to his arm where it got zapped by a large bolt of lightning. Good thing no mini-cons woke up right now. However, I did not know words could be powerful. Megatron made a mental note to later go out and think over what to do with Starscream. Rest up, Starscream, because I expect to see you on the battlefield as we at least figure out who you get to Transformer form back. Starscream just did a weak thumbs up to show he heard as he was too tired to even speak and even passed out snoring after doing that. You two, repair the ship. Cyclonus and Demolisher didn't say a word as Megatron was a little agitated. Megatron walked out of the ship and stared at the stars. Next time, Starscream is practicing outside the base. Megatron growled to himself for forgetting to let Starscream outside before trying to summon powerful attacks. He probably guessed the Autobots don't have to deal with such problems. Autobot base, Earth. Hey, Slag, I got a nice tasty bar for you. Hotshot chimed while holding a bar of metal in front of one of the cabot holes in the base. Luckily, they found the little creature wasn't fond of eating Cybertronian metal, but Hotshot still had to catch it. Mew? The cabot saw the bar and latched to it. God. The cabot ate through most the bar before hopping back into the hole. I don't got yaw. Slag, what does it take to catch a little creature that eats metal? What is Hotshot doing? A crane trunk transformer known as Smokescreen asked his new human friends. Trying to catch an alien cabot that can eat metal, Carlos said with a sigh. So far, no luck for him. All the humans chuckled, confusing Smokescreen. Naruto sat on the roof of her team's house while looking at the stars. Hey, Naruto, what are you doing? Sakura asked while Sasuke and she along with Turbofox Wall walked onto the roof. They taught Turbofox the technique out of curiosity and found the mini-con could do jutsu as well, copying Naruto's Kage Bushin no Jutsu with ease. Are you looking at your planet? Sasuke asked before all three noticed Naruto's frown. No, my planet is long gone. I'm just looking at the stars. They are always changing slowly. Naruto sighed with a smile. I always keep updating my inner map of space the best I can just in case. Oh, so, do you ever get homesick? Sakura asked. Sometimes. But Konoha is my new home and will always be as long as I protect it. Naruto grinned. Even if my people refused to complete the deal. I prefer humans over my kind anyways. You guys are a lot more interesting than them and I might finally die before my comrades. Hopefully way when you two are pretty old. Don't worry about it. Just a joke I can say as I have outlived a lot of other models. Naruto sighed. There is no way I am not going to die anytime soon. You better not. If you do, I will kill you again. Sakura growled. Why yes, ma'am. Naruto sheepishly laughed. But, Turbofox, what about you? Don't you miss Cybertron? No. Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto looked at the mini-con in shock as she had spoken in human. I like it. Here, you can speak. Naruto shouted in shock. I'm trying hard to be able to Turbofox beeped with her light eyes closed in annoyance. Oh, wow, that's good. We'll help you out so you can speak in human language. Naruto shouted while standing up, but she tripped and fell off the roof. Naruto, Sasuke shouted. I'm okay. Or at least I will be once I stop seeing stars. Naruto moaned as her eyes were crossed while getting up of the bushes they fell into. She just had bad luck like this, so she was used to it. Naruto, you're such a klutz. Sasuke sighed while Sakura sweated. They actually were wondering how the blonde had managed to live to 80 billion years. She is one lucky person. Both Genin thought while sighing, confusing Turbofox who just cocked her head trying to figure out why the two humans were sighing. Humans are confusing, even more than what Naruto is. Turbofox thought before getting off the roof. It was time for a stasis sleep anyways and she wasn't in the mode to watch her friend's antics. Turbofox was hopeful that things might finally start to calm down a little bit.
That's all for now. If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comments.